everybody, and welcome back to the Survivor Now podcast. My name is Randy, and today we have a very well-rounded panel. A lot of representation here. We've got myself for the after show. We've got Mr. Ollie from Got Something For You, which airs on Saturdays, and we have Kara from Survivor Social, which will air tomorrow night. So special time for Survivor Social. Her and Tegwith will be on with a special guest, Emily Little, tomorrow night from, I believe she's also part of the Wicked Unscripted podcast, if I remember correctly. So I have to double check that, but she will be joining us to cover last week's episode. But tonight we are here for our, I want to say annual, but it's not annual. It's like every season. I've lost the right word, but it's something we do.
I don't know.
Biannual.
Go with it.
Yeah, we'll roll with it. It is our Rites of Passage. And if you are not familiar with the Rites of Passage, maybe you're a new Survivor fan and you haven't seen the old seasons. It's a tradition that Survivor used to do, which during the finale, the remaining castaways that are left in the game would make this long journey where they would collect torches or other relics representing their fallen tribe members who have been voted out one by one. And they would basically say a few words. If they didn't like the person, maybe they would throw some shade. It was entertaining, but CBS Survivor kind of saw it as kind of a waste of time. So they canceled it. I can't remember the last season they did it. I should have did my research, but they ended up. Do you know, Ollie?
I should. I'm trying to think in my head.
I know Ollie will get it, but they ended up canceling it. But here at Survivor Now, we decided to pick it up. And so we are going to take our own little journey, our own little look back at the season that has been Survivor 47 as we get ready for finale week, which starts this week, or part 2 of the finale week per se. So I think that's basically the gist of it. I'll actually go to Kara first. Kara, how are we doing tonight? Now that I'm done talking, how are we doing?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to, talk about everybody and go back to the beginning.
It's a nice little revisit. I always love doing this because we get to a certain player and we're like, oh yeah, that happened. Yeah. And then at the end, we'll talk about how great of a season it's been or how bad it's been. Ollie, how are we doing tonight on your end? I know it's late for you. It's late, my man.
Always. But yeah, no, I'm doing fine. In the spirit of Teeny, I've got my red wine ready.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's really juice.
And in the spirit of Ollie, grab your favorite juice, grab your favorite alcoholic beverage, whatever you want. Thank you for being with us on a Sunday night. You can join our chat. We like to call it Ancient Voices. So interact with us. Let us know who you're rooting on as we go into the finale. Let us know who you wish made it farther in the game. Ollie, yes, you got the finger up.
Survivor Caramone, by the way.
Oh, was it? Which was season 28?
No, season 26.
Was it 26? It was around.
I want to say, it's around 25, 26.
Yeah, I know it was around that. I should know. It's one of my favorite seasons. So we have Culture Clash TV here. Hey. Also watching late. Us Brits are dedicated. Yes. I love that. I know it's 1 a.m. for you guys. I got that before going live, so I can say that. Well, without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce you guys to our tier list. This is what we are going to be using to kind of rank these castaways here. So let me walk you through the tiers because we kind of set these last season. Obviously, you have the winner, which we will make our official prediction as a podcast. Ollie, myself, and Kara will try to agree on this. Well, we have the final 3. There's 4 people left in the game. We'll let you know who's probably going home in fire. Then you have great games. Someone who has played almost like a perfect game. Unfortunately for them, they got on the wrong side of the numbers and got sent home. But great game is exactly what it says. A fantastic, great game. Then you have good game. This is a little bit better than okay. Someone who didn't quite have that great game, but still played really solid. Okay is you had your high moments, you had your low moments. It was kind of messy for you. Bad game, not much more to say there. Yeah, you really struggled. And no game, this is the one that confuses people. No game is someone who never really got going in the first place. Usually it's someone who got out very early on in the season. didn't make any good moves, didn't make any bad moves. They were just kind of or I like to say like a Heather from 41. There's been a lot of Heather hate. I don't know how you guys view Heather. What? Ollie, don't make that face.
You started that yesterday.
I did. There's been some Heather. I did in the comments. Yeah, I'm gonna roll with it now or run with it. So without further ado, let's get started. We're looking all the way back. And when did this season start? September, right? End of September. And we have a Mr. I'm just gonna put him here for now to idle him out. A Mr. John Lovett, the last person, the only person not taken in the Survivor Now draft on Ollie's team. So this might be near and dear to Ollie's heart. Let's start with Kara. We'll go ladies first. Looking back at John Lovett, how are we feeling? Obviously, the biggest name, the most recognizable name on the season.
Yeah, I was excited to see him on the season, see what he was going to do, see how he'd play. So I'm disappointed that we didn't get that. But also, if we did get more John, we would have gotten less Andy. And that was just not going to be okay. So maybe John can come back. Come back for another season.
I see.
No shade.
That's the thing too. I forgot to mention. We usually talk about like whether we could see them play again. I don't know if I could see John play again. Like would he go back out there? He's a tough one because usually with like first boots, besides Mr. John Lovett here and Jelinski, usually they're pretty forgettable players at times or can be. I know Abraham's going to text me immediately and be like, "Excuse
I was about
you."
to say.
But like, I feel like he had a good game going. Like except for the fact, like you could see that he was strategic and he was wanting to make the right moves. The only thing that I think really hurt him, Ollie, is the fact that when Andy threw him under the bus, he was still willing to work with Andy instead of doubling down and being like, guys, we need to he needs gone for sure. Like he still seemed like he was going to forgive him.
Yeah, and I think this is the thing. He was a really good speaker, which I think really benefited him because I think when you saw him in conversations, he was really able to get the point across eloquently and get people on his side. I think you're right in the sense that when Andy did kind of go after him, that was he should have just gone against Andy. He shouldn't have tried to still save him. I'm not gonna lie, John's a weird one for me because once you explained no game, I kind of looked at John and went, well, he did nothing bad. Did he do anything good is the question.
Does he get up to like an okay game or a good game?
Yeah, not good game.
Like it was a memorable episode though, and I feel like if anything, he at least had that. So
well, that's the thing. That's the thing too. When he went home, a lot of people were shocked. One, because of what happened with Andy, and we'll get to Andy and his journey a little bit later on in the show. But yes, on one hand, they were shocked that Andy was not the first one voted out. It was like, holy crap, what? But then they were also shocked because we did get a lot of John in the first episode, which I know that was just CBS trying to capitalize on his name or whatever, get that footage. But at the same time, it's like, if I remember correctly, watching him play on the tribe, like I remember saying at one point that if John made it past the first, like he might be the best first vote out or one of them in Survivor history. I remember saying that, and I'll call myself out. I'll call myself out for putting it out there, but I remember him having like pretty good gameplay and a lot of people being like, what could have been? Like he's always going to be a what could have been if he stayed in the game.
Yeah. That's fair.
So where are we placing him? We going up to good or no? Okay is the best we can do, or bad game. I mean, what are we?
No, I don't think bad game. So I don't think he had a bad game.
I mean, it was the first boot. Like how much can you really do in 3 days? You know.
So are we between okay game and no game?
I guess okay. I don't know.
Yeah. For now, I would put him in okay.
Yeah.
We'll see once we talk about other people where I'm like, oh, does he get anywhere else? But yeah, I'm okay with him being okay.
This gets really fun later because we also put people like, say someone else goes in okay, then we have to have the discussion better than John Lovett or worse than John Lovett. And that's where we can get in some good debates. All right, moving on. Another shock vote out. We have TK. First Tuku member eliminated. TK looked like he was set up for a good game. He went on a journey. He was able to beat Asia to an advantage. Does anyone remember what that was? That wasn't an idol, was it? Or
it was. No, it was
like
kind of just
gear.
sweat. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it?
Wasn't it like
I think it was
fishing
just
gear or something?
Yeah, it was all to get like flip,
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he won the gear for his tribe. Like, we saw him catch Gabe in the act when Gabe was looking around, and he was like, "What are you doing up there?" And Gabe's like, "I just, found this without the clue." And he was like, "I don't know about that." And he ended up picking the wrong rivalry early on, as that ended up biting him in the butt when he didn't have the alliance that he thought he had. Like I said, this was so long ago. I'm doing my best to remember, but I believe it was he thought he had Tiana, and Tiana was the one who was kind of the deciding vote at that first tribal council. Am I correct there?
Yeah.
I feel like my memory is serving me okay. So I'm going to place TK here for now, and we can discuss. I definitely think he had a better game than John did.
Well, and like at the challenge, like TK and Tiana had that little back and forth. So I feel like that's kind of like bad, especially so early on.
I forgot about that. When they kept losing and he was like, "I'm just sick and tired of losing." Okay, now you're starting to sway me. And Ollie's like shaking his head.
Like as soon as we the one person when I was looking at the tiers, I straight away put TK in bad game. And so
really?
Yeah, because of the challenge outburst, but also with the fact that he thought he could strong arm the tribe straight away and have this like bros alliance, and like how he did socially for me was bad as well. Like he was bad, like just socially, he was bad. As a player, from a game perspective, I think he had more bad than okay even.
I mean, I'll put it out there as well for everyone. If you're watching and you're a cast member this season, this is all with love. This is all with love. It's all for the sake of argument. Ryan is in the chat and says, "I agree with Kara." See, no social awareness. I didn't even think about this.
No.
Like I was thinking when I first saw the tiers and, reminded myself of them, I was thinking okay game. But yeah, you guys have fully persuaded me to.
I think the only okay thing he did is, as you mentioned, found Gabe. But then even then it was, he still wanted to work with Gabe. So I was like.
Yeah.
He handled the situation like all wrong, essentially.
Yeah.
No, I can agree with that. All right. Coming up next. This is a tough subject for a lot of people. Asia, Ollie, you looked like you were about ready to like cry a little bit over.
Oh God,
Asia.
God, no!
I remember you didn't get the hype.
No, and I feel really bad. We also have to take into account when everyone hypes someone up. I would say Asia did I'm going to be nice. I don't think Asia had a bad game. She had a lot of bad moments, but I don't think overall it was bad. I'd put her in an okay game. Like she was able to use her knowledge of Survivor well enough to, get some key relationships with Teeny, with Keyshawn, with Soul. But I think her stubbornness didn't help her, and I think that was a major factor. So I would put her in an okay game. I personally would not put her ahead of John, but that's just my opinion.
Before Kara gets to be the decider, I'm going to put Kara in a tough position here. I was thinking bad game. I think she got there was one situation in particular, and it was how she felt against Rome. And I feel like she got too oh my God, what's the term I'm looking for? It was like she was going down a one-lane road, right? You know what term I'm looking for? Basically, she didn't explore the other options that were there, excuse me. I feel like she got too
Tunnel
stuck.
vision?
Yes. That's. I feel like her tunnel vision is what really cost her, because I feel like there were other options out there, and I remember in particular, was it Rome who came up and gave a couple options, or someone came up to her and Keyshawn and said, "This is what we should do." And she was like, absolutely not doing that whatsoever.
That was Tina and Keyshawn. Yeah, that was Tina and Keyshawn. They came to Asia and were like, you may have to do Soul.
You might have to vote. That's the situation. Yeah, you might have to vote Soul out. And I understand where she's coming from. Like, that's my number one. I'm going to go out swinging. But, like, Tina and Keyshawn said, like, we can work with you, but this is what you're going to have to do. And then we'll target Rome next time, or we'll handle that next time if it comes to it. And she just shot that down to the point it got her voted out of the game, because Teenie and Keyshawn then said, hey, why make the move against Seoul when Asia's just not going to work with us whatsoever? And that's what got her sent out of the game. I thought that was arguably one of the worst moments in the game, like in terms of gameplay, because she totally shot that down, was not willing to work with them whatsoever.
I know how you said Kara might have to break the tie. I was just trying to be nice. More than happy to put her in bad game.
See, I feel like it's similar to John's situation, where like they're going to bat for people that, like, it's so early on, where I feel like if you're like, it's so early, like at that point, just look out for yourself. I feel like if it's possible, like if it's you or someone else, like you gotta, I don't know, like nothing really. I was excited to see Asia and like see her play and everything. And I feel like she didn't have the best opportunity out there to play. I feel like she was set up nicely with Teenie, but like that was it. So I don't know.
I just feel like
I almost would say like no game. Like I feel like, I don't know. Like I wouldn't say bad. I don't know.
Ooh, see, this is where it gets juicy. It's like no game, bad game. Like I definitely don't think okay game.
I feel like she had a game. I do think she had a game.
I think she had moments. She did. I will say a positive side. Sorry, not to cut you off, Kara. She did. She didn't give up when TK found the supply. She definitely went in and tried taking it from TK. That was a power move. Like, she did look good in those first couple episodes.
I would put her ahead of John in okay game.
Personally. See, I would give her. I would be willing to give her okay game, but there behind John.
And I would put her in bad game above TK. So I think compromise is behind John in okay game. Okay, Ollie.
So compromise is my
Ollie, is that how you live your life? Compromise is my way.
Just a happy coincidence.
Okay, next up we have Keyshawn. Another member of Ollie's teams, might be near and dear. I mean, Keyshawn was actually having a really solid game early on pre-merge. A lot of people were saying Keyshawn is up there for one of the best players currently playing. He just ran into a force in Genevieve. That's what happened. So I'll initially place him, and then we can move him around. I'm okay putting him in good game. I don't think him going home was necessarily his fault, unless you want to make the argument that he had his hand in too many cookie jars, and that does fall back on him.
I'm not going to lie. Sorry, you go, Kara.
That was it. I was just going to say he got too confident.
I was honestly going to say I was going to fight for Keyshawn to be in good game, because I think if Keyshawn survived his tribal, he would have gotten a lot further, and I definitely think we would be putting him in great game. Not just because he's on my draft, but I actually think like we saw each episode him do something really well. Like episode 1, you saw that he was socially like integrating well, and everyone was really enjoying him. Episode 2, you saw that people wanted to work with him. Him and Teenie were in the middle of that tribe. Like it was basically
a good position.
Yeah. And then episode 3, you saw that he had all the knowledge and all the power. And really, when it came to the Asia vote, it was between him and Teenie. Even episode 4, he had more power, even though Teenie didn't have a vote. He still had power, and it was, I would argue that Keyshawn was the one person pre-merge that got voted out due to them being a threat, not for their own mistakes. Like, I feel like right now with the 4 that we've had, John, TK, and Asia, they all got voted out because of something they did wrong. Keyshawn, and I know Genevieve has said this time and time again, she went for Keyshawn because he was a threat. And the fact that he's been mentioned in the last 3 episodes proves it. I rest my case.
Well, and wasn't it kind of because he threw out Genevieve's name at that vote? That's kind of like
Still
a
good game.
mistake.
I mean, I don't know. It is a mistake. Okay, she's got you there. And I will say, I don't know if this scores a little brownie points, but he was a part of one of the best edited sequences I've seen in a long time. I will always remember that moment of like
That was
Genevieve laying at camp, and then you just have the montage in the background of like evil Kashan.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
But I will say with the mistake,
It is a mistake, though.
Hold on. Let me say, put him back in good game. I will fight for that one.
Let us know in the chat, everyone. If you're here right now, we might need you to help us decide good game or okay game.
Because his mistake, obviously, I believe he said it to Soul or someone, but he was saying it as a name. In my view, when he was saying it as a name, but he was never going to target Genevieve. Unfortunately, it was the fact that how Rome spun it then made, obviously, Genevieve spiral and then see the threat that Keyshawn was. Keyshawn basically did it because he didn't want his name out there. He didn't want his name as a potential name. And actually, I remember this part because I remember going, it was Rome that said Genevieve first. Rome was the one that said Genevieve first. He then tried to go back and say it was Keyshawn. That's what the edit showed anyway. Good game.
So, Kara, you're saying he should go in okay game?
No, I don't know. You can keep him in good game. I feel like if that was the worst thing he did, and like also Teenie didn't have a vote that round and like wasn't around. I feel like that also kind of changed things. So I feel like he can stay in good game, and the fact that he still mentions like in the finals, like good game. So
let me see if I get this comparison right. I might get some shit for this comparison, but like, you guys remember Jim from 46? I was very vocal in saying that I think Jim was playing the best game when she ended up going home. Like, some people were saying she's probably going to go on to win this game because she was playing so good. She was playing ahead of everybody else, and it ended up costing her. And she got a little, she was playing a little too hard, too early. But I still look at Jim as like, man, I wish I saw her go on a run to see what she could have really done post-merge. I almost see Kashan as the same person this season of like, he's going to end up being that survivor player of like, could you imagine if Kashan made merge and, what he could have done? He was a very strong player. I think he just, his mistake that we keep talking about, and I don't think it's enough to put him in okay game or bad game. He played a little too well too early on. Yeah. Compare that to someone with Genevieve where people are like, who's Genevieve? Who's Genevieve? We don't even see Genevieve. And then she ended up, spoiler alert, and we'll get to her later, ended up being one of the best players of the season, if not arguably the best player of the season, depending on what side you're on. But like, what did she do pre-merge? Like, besides the Kashan vote, obviously you could be like, Randy, we've been talking about it, the Kashan vote. Yeah. Other than that, she wasn't really vocal. It was always Rome against Soul. It was always Teenie and Kashan against Rome, and you could say Genevieve, but like, it was Rome. Like, she aligns herself with the loudest player in the game to almost use him as a shield. Sorry, we'll get to that later. Yeah. I'm going to start ranting about Genevieve now. Let's get through our next player before talking about whether we could see any of these players return. Annika. This is an interesting one, too. That's something about this season, and that's what makes this season so stinking good. is there's so many pre-merge players that I wish we saw more of, because you could make the argument that Annika was playing a good game, but once again, circumstances, the cash she got, the cards she was dealt, it came down to where was Sierra going to align? Was she going to align with the women, or was she going to align with Sam and Andy? And it came very apparent that she was never going to go against Sam. And we got a few comments here. Kimberly, a little late to the party, but I'm here. Perfect timing. We've only just started with our pre-merge players. And then Quinn robbed Queen. Well, let's see if we agree. Kara, let's go to you first. Annika, was she robbed?
I would have liked to have seen more of Annika, and I think her, exit was one of the most memorable ones we've had in a while.
That
bring back being
council.
Upset that you were voted out. I think that's valid. I don't know where really I don't think she had I don't think she had a bad game. I think it was just who other people were aligned with. So I don't know. I feel like I'd probably put her in okay game.
That's where I was thinking too. I totally forgot about our tribal council too. It was very Ollie-esque. Ollie, I could see you going out that way. I could. What did she say again? What did she do?
She just was like, wow, really? And then was like, go on then. Who voted me out? I'm not leaving before I find it. Yeah, that's probably pretty much.
Didn't she look at Rachel and no? Was that a different fellow? She was like, was it you?
She looked at Rachel. Yeah.
I'm thinking here.
I'd put her
after
ahead of
John.
Oh, my bad. Ahead of John. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I was more concerned with putting her above Asia. Because, again, I want Asia down in bad game, but we'll leave it.
Oh, my God. Not the hate.
I thought I was critical of Asia. Damn.
Yeah. We're never getting Rob on the podcast now. That's
Asia can come on Survivor Social.
Yeah. Yes. Good call. Good call.
Or even got something for you. I'm not being that bad. Probably Survivor Social, yeah. No, I agree with where Annika is. I think her one issue was she was very forceful. She was very direct. She was very blunt. And it worked for her, but it also worked against her. I think...
Sorry.
No, you go.
I was going to say, I just remembered, you reminded me, of her little conflict with Sam, which maybe you were getting to, but yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. She had a conflict with Sam, but then also she found the idol thing with Sam. So she was she had that good thing of she had a knowledge of where things were, but she also felt a little bit too comfortable in thinking, I've got both the girls. So that's why I put her in okay game, but I think she definitely did. For me, right now, she is at the top of okay game. I think she did at least show a lot of promise and a lot of good intentions.
For me, she didn't make any bad mistakes, but she also didn't do anything that puts it over the top. So that's why I agree with her in okay game. I think out of all the players, this is going to sound weird. She did the least amount out of all the players, in my opinion. You could argue John because he went first.
Wait, what?
Wait, whoa. Is this a hot take?
What do you mean? She did the least amount. John was literally first boot.
Also TK.
He did more.
I can elaborate. I just feel like John, maybe not John. Okay, can I retract that statement? Can I retract it?
You should.
No, it's already on. It's already here. We all know what was said.
Okay, besides John, she had the least amount of movement in the game that we saw in terms she aligned herself with Rachel as her number one. She obviously wanted to do the girl thing. Other than that, the Breadwinners Alliance. Yeah. See, my memory sometimes totally forgot it was called. Why am I running this? My memory's so bad. No, I like Annika in that spot. I will say before we move on to our next very, very colorful character, Roy, hello, welcome. Do we see any of these 5 players returning to play the game again? I don't know, Ollie. I don't know.
I think so. But that's just me. I'm just I will defend Keyshawn until the last breath. So that is just my biasy showing. So sorry.
Kara, do you see any of these players returning? Personally, I don't.
I'm going to go John. just for fun.
Ooh, just for fun.
He
I will say.
He had such a great first episode. Bring him back with Jelinski.
I could see that. Like, imagine imagine it was like a mentor season and it's John and Jelinski.
Make them captains.
No, captains, John, Jelinski, Abe.
Francesca. Oh, and
I was going to say Francesca, but Abe.
Yes.
This is incredible. Book that idea right now.
But I do want to defend Keyshawn a little bit. I don't care. But we remember someone that was pre-merged in their first season and the fans saw the promise, the fans saw the potential, and then they came back and became an icon and a legend. Miss Kelly Wentworth. I'm not saying Keyshawn. I'm not like people are going to now hate me because they're like, "Are you really called in Keyshawn Kelly?" Yeah, I am. I don't care. But
we just lost 5 viewers.
Fight me on Twitter. I don't care. But I think we saw all the potential and promise Keyshawn had. So I think if there was, say, a second chance season, a season where they wanted to bring back pre-mergers for that kind of redemption, Keyshawn could be one of them.
And maybe like they keep mentioning him and showing flashbacks so we don't forget him. So when he comes back, he's fresh in our minds. You know?
He's the person at 50. He's the contact.
I was going to say, Kashawn
He's the 50. One for 50.
Ryan says John would be a great season narrator. Maybe they just bring him back for that. Maybe John's never on a season again, but he just does confessionals throughout the season.
Like Island of the Idols.
Like
it's like Sandra and Rob. He's just on an island narrating.
We're doing Island of the Idols 2.0, and you go out to the beach, and there's a giant statue of Jelinski and a giant statue of John. Legendary. Let's see. Roy says, if John comes back, I think it's more about his fame than his game. And Ryan says, Ollie being the biggest Kashawn stan kind of selling me. hey, he will fight. I mean, Kinsey from last season. I mean, Kashawn's got nothing on Kinsey. Okay, next up. It was this season's Banu. It was Rome.
Okay, he was not like Banu. That was kind of crazy.
It was because the beginning of the game, Rome was on television each and every week more than anyone else, more than my local news station.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he still did some decent. Yeah, he still did some decent things.
I agree.
Look, I'm saying this is someone that was the biggest Rome critic on Got Something For You. I would roast that man however many times. There was someone else I roasted, but that's later on. But I think he still had some good moments. Like, he found an idol. Put that back.
That's what Kara said.
No, I would fight for him to be in Great Game because I'm a Rome stan.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay, well, continue.
No, I'm intrigued. Go, Kara, go.
Okay, well, I don't know. Like, he did a lot. He had all the advantages. He was entertaining. Like, I don't know. He was entertaining. And that was
we are going to get roasted if we put him in Great Game.
I mean, he doesn't have to be like the first in Great Game. Like, other people can go in front of him, but like, I'm a Rome truther. I enjoyed him. You can give me your reasons as to why not.
Your rebuttal, Ollie.
I'm going to retittle the rattle of the rebuttal. With Rome, like you said, I do think he had good moments. I always gave him credit. He found the idol. He knew to play the idol in himself because there wasn't a security that he would get. Like, he technically got rid of a vote. Well done. He did use his steal a vote correctly because he didn't know if Sol was going to be with him. So when he used his stolen vote against Keyshawn, it was a smart play to do. And I think he was able to put himself in a decent spot in Lavu because I think he was the one that, he was the one that was creating the alliances and he was having that sort of control. I think his issue was similar to Arnica. He was very opinionated, very abrupt, but I think with his issue, like with that, he started to put the blinders on. Like his episode where he went, there was nothing good because he literally tried to get everyone against Kyle, but did it in a way that everyone knew about it. And then we saw that final confessional before Tribal where he was there like, I've got everyone in the palm of my hand, they're in my pocket. And then you have every confessional before that being like, yeah, bye, Rome.
He did a little bit too much at the end there. I think if he like did a little less, but like with the same intention, it might have worked for him. But like he was doing a little bit too much. So I agree. But like, okay, we can move into good game.
I hear both your arguments. Let me just show you where I was going to put Rome. And I love Rome. He's been one of the biggest supporters of our show. That's what I was thinking. That's where I was leaning.
Good
do we
game.
meet? Do we meet in the middle and go there, or does he go above Kashan?
I would put it. We're about to do all these decisions because it would be a good game, but behind Keyshawn. I can put him in good game because I do agree with Kara. I think he had some good moves. I think he did have some good potential and control at times. But I think the contrast of that is when he didn't, it was bad. Like him literally just not strong arming, but when he was like basically following Soul around, like how he treated Soul there.
That's true.
Like, I think Abe said it best. Like he would have dragged him. So it's those social like things that he did because he did it with Kyle as well. And I think we didn't hear the voting confessionals, but actually, if you look back at some of the voting confessionals, like he did with Keyshawn, there was just this energy, and I was like, "Who is pissed in your porridge?" And that's why I would like put him behind Keyshawn, but also because I'm a Keyshawn truther.
I've heard both your arguments. Here's my take on
like
Rome.
no game.
And you guys have basically said everything that I'm going to say here, but for Rome, like there were moments that I did say, wow, this man is running circles around everyone. Like he came to play.
Yeah.
And then there's also moments that I'm like, this guy has no idea what he's doing right now. Like he's super chaotic. I think one of the worst parts about his game is, and I was going to say this too, Ryan, I was getting there. One thing I will say about Rome is he didn't really care about the bridges that he burnt along the way. And I think that's really what did him in is Rome's treatment about, yes. I feel like the best players will make friends with their enemies and will navigate the game in that way and do what they have to do.
Yeah.
Where Rome was just like, fine, if you don't want to work with me, I'm going against you and your entire alliance. And it got to the point where he burnt every bridge to the point where we saw everyone vote for Rome because it was just that time. It's like, okay, we're sick of this. When other tribes are talking about you and they're not even on the same tribe as you, that's saying something. That's saying something. So, I was going to put him top of okay game because of those high moments, but I'm okay putting him in good game. I like that. I like that spot because he did have he had the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, as Chris says. He has some good, but also some horrible moves. I do think we'll see Rome again. Like, I don't think Rome's done. I do think Rome's going to be back. No? You don't
I don't know yet. I don't know.
I definitely don't know after his exit interview fiasco.
If it wasn't for that, I think it would be a lock. But with that, I don't know the full story about that, but it doesn't seem great.
It's because there's also been this person that's scrolling through all the social medias. It wasn't the only beef was not Kyle. There was other beef he had with his castaways. So I don't know.
So I did see that as well. Chris adds in, additionally, he was majorly blindsided when he went home too. And then Roy adds in, probably not going to be back for 50. But
No.
Who knows? Who knows? We have one more pre-merger to get through, and it's tough to say pre-merger because this season she was the one that got screwed off of being on the jury, and it was our girl Tiana. Ollie, I'll start with you. What are we thinking about Tiana here?
I love Tiana. I was really rooting for Tiana. I wanted her on my draft. Thank you, Bruce. But I would put Tiana in okay game, but I say that because I think and that's exactly where I put her. I think she had similar to, I think it was I said about Annika, she had really good intentions. I think what she wanted to do was really good, and I think had she not been on Tuku, she would have done a lot better. I think being on Tuku didn't help her because you had a control freak on there and then the loyalists, and she was not going to budget. So I think that was what hindered her game.
Show a couple comments here before Kara adds in. Ryan says this about Rome. He's coming back as the new host. Obviously, I mean, Jeff gave him his seat. Still can't believe he did that.
Exactly.
And then I agree with these comments. Roy says, and I don't remember anything Tiana did. And then Chris says, yeah, sadly not very memorable in the big picture. It hurts. It pains me to say that about Tiana. It does. But out of all these players, as I go through and I'm like, this is what this player did. This is what this player did. The only thing that I really remember about Tiana is that one episode she had with TK where TK thought she was in that alliance and Tiana was like, I'm kind of in the middle and I have to make a choice here. She chose to go with Caroline, Sue, and Gabe. Didn't have the numbers when she needed them. Wasn't that the split?
The episode she went home.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's what I mean. She did want to make a move. It was just everyone else.
Well, and see why that didn't work out for her was because when on the social hour reward, she was talking about Gabe and everything in front of Caroline and Sue and everybody. And like, I think that was her biggest mistake. And I think that is why, like, that's what sticks out to me, her doing that. And I feel like that was just like really bad. I don't know if I would put her in bad game, but like, I thought that was bad.
What are you thinking, Kara? Are you thinking lower on okay game, or are you like where she is behind Annika? She did almost make the merge, but was that because Tuku was dominating early on?
Yeah.
I will say that's the highest I'd put her.
Yeah.
It's interesting, too, because a lot of people pre-game thought that her and Sue would have a wonderful relationship. Granted, she wants to be a flight attendant. Sue runs a flight school. Like, everyone pre-game was like, oh, they put them on the same tribe on purpose. They're going to link up. One thing about Tiana, she never really seemed super close with anyone because Gabe obviously had Sue as her number one. Caroline was kind of very close with Sue in that sense as well. Do you disagree?
Not that I disagree. I think she had a good connection with Kyle. I think her, Kyle, and TK could have done something, but then TK TK'd. Or I should have said TK KO'd. But I think she. It's tough because I think, again, like I said, not Tuku. If she wasn't on Tuku, I think we would have been a different picture. But I do agree with what Kara said in the sense that there was moments that she did that were bad.
Are we okay leaving her where she's at? Okay and okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there is the pre-merge. We still have the rest of the players to get to right now. Kashan is listed as the best player of the pre-merge, going above Rome. And then we have Annika, Tiana, John, and Asia in okay. And the only person we had playing a bad game was TK. I'm very, very sorry, TK. Will anybody join him? We're going to take a very, very fast and quick break. When we come back, we will get to the rest of the players who did make the merge. We'll be right back.
Hi, Survivor Now podcast listeners. I am Katie from KT Designs, better known as Katie Tedesco Art on both Instagram and Etsy. I have been designing and selling Survivor products for over 7 years at my Etsy shop, including replicas like hidden immunity idols and Survivor trading cards with all of the players' stats on the back. I am so grateful for Survivor Now for giving me this shout out and helping me reach even more superfans. I love listening to their podcast. So if you are looking for some really unique reality TV products for yourself or to give a superfan in your life, come check out my Etsy shop at www.etsy.com/shop/KatieTedescoArt.com.
Definitely check out. Oh, what happened to my... There we go.
Say.
Focus. This happened to Matthew yesterday on the stream. Focus. I'm just going to stay out of focus for a minute. I don't know. All right, I'm going to turn my camera off. It seemed to work for him. I'll be right back. Take it away, Ollie. Next player is... wait, now I'm back.
You're back.
Okay, there we go. Next player is Sierra, the lovely Sierra, one of my favorite players this season. Also, been a huge... Oh, yeah. Kara's winner pick. And been a huge supporter of the podcast. So if you're watching Sierra, thank you. We love you. What are we thinking for Sierra here? The mayor of Ponderosa. Like, if I had to place her right now, I'm either here or I'm here. Kind of in this range.
I mean, I would say good game.
Yeah, I'd say good game.
At the least, good game. I don't think she did anything wrong. I think the only thing that was like her only downfall, I really think, was just people seeing how close she was to Sam. And them trying to weaken Sam by taking her out. Yeah,
because I think Sierra, like, she had actually a fair bit of control. Like, she was the deciding factor on... Why have I forgotten the name? Gotta, thank you. She was when it came to Annika's vote, it was Sierra that was calling the shot there. Yep. Like, that, in my opinion, that was Sierra's move, if anything. So I think personally she did have a good game. I think, like Cara said, her main downfall was the fact that she couldn't budge people's perception of her and Sam being so close, which in the end I think did actually quite bite her in the butt, because had she during her time on Merge, had she actually tried to distance herself, I think that would have put herself better. But I think because she didn't really do that, I think that did her a little bit. So currently where she is, I'm fine with. If anyone else has any pushes.
Well, this comment is affecting me. Roy's comment of Sierra okay at best. I think a lot of fans are going to feel that way because they feel like Sam did most of the dirty work in that duo. I think Sierra played a solid game. I will agree. I don't think she did anything over the top that makes you go, wow. But, like, I think she did what, she found an ally early on in Sam. He was never going to turn on her. I truly don't think he would have ever turned on her. And if it wasn't for Andy being like, I'm done with these two and cutting ties with her there, I think she could have made it a lot farther in the game. And with that line of thinking, I know we shouldn't be playing by, hypotheticals and shoulda, woulda, couldas. But I feel like for a player that I think could have made it very farther in the game, if one player didn't make that decision, it's hard for me to put her down in okay. We've got some more comments. Yeah. Sierra trusting Andy and voting Annika puts her out of the running for good. And then Ryan adds in, I forget, why did they vote for her on the revote over Sam?
Because it was the whole who's the head of the garter snake. And I think they believed that Sierra was using Sam as the meat shield and she was the brains behind it.
Yeah, and like Sierra had good social connections, like we saw with Teeny and everything. So like she was doing other things that like on her own. So I would put her before Keyshawn personally.
I remind everyone, like, if you think Sierra should go in okay, that's why we really spanned out. We have great, we have good, and we have okay. Because okay is just kind of like, there was sparks of a player in there. Like but it never really caught fire. Good game is like there was a flame. There was a small little
She was
flame.
a social player, you know.
Exactly.
That was her,
So you're not.
that was her strong thing.
I love that you said that, Kara, because you're not going to have those like big and flashy moves. Quinn adds in, how big of a factor does island perception play in these? Didn't she go over Sam since she's more solid of a player? That's what I'm saying. I think like a lot of people are going to look at Sierra and be like, why is she in good? She should be in okay. What did she do? I just don't. She wasn't that flashy player. She's not that type of player that is going to be. Andy is a flashy player. Rome is a flashy player. But she was still playing a solid game, and good, solid. That's where you go. Like solid game is a great way of that.
Yeah.
And then Roy adds in, I may be clouded by her bitter jury video. I haven't seen her jury video. I just know she like is sparking every time she walks in the tribal council. And Ryan, okay,
I was just going to say, because I look at their social medias, I feel like I may have more of an idea as to why. Obviously, we have to remember when she went to tribal the first time, she only had been voted out 24 hours. So, like, I'd sit there if you sit there and be like, after 24 hours, you can sit there smiling, BS. I'd be sat there scowling. And then apparently everyone got scared of it so much, so it became like, if you've noticed, every single person that's come onto the jury, they've all had a face. So it's not just been Sierra.
I think it's going to be a bitter jury. I think we're in line for. You don't think so?
No, that's
you just said it every time they walk in.
No,
it's like this looks.
But like on purpose.
If I may rebuttal you there, it was on purpose because Sol went to Sierra and said everyone was scared of you and doing it, so then they chose to keep it going. Oh. So that's why she always looks bitter because she's doing it. Yeah.
I haven't watched the exit press, so I will say that. I can't.
And like the way she went out too, I feel like her being upset the next day is valid. Like, why not?
Yeah.
So
I think we agree on this one. Do we agree where she's at, or Kara? Is there going to be pushback
first?
Before Kashan?
Yeah.
Randy, you're the decider.
I love Sierra, so I'll put her there.
I was going to say, I was always going to be like,
and her mom followed me on social media as well. So I love it. I love it.
Also, just to say for Sierra, one of the best social media presences.
Yeah,
I've always got stuff off her. So
yes, can't wait until we meet at a live event one day. All right, next up we have Soul, and there's only one spot for Soul, and it's up here because those fits. I mean, the man captured 1 million hearts this season. Coming out there looking all beefed up and everything. Okay, realistically, Soul, man, pre-merge, everyone fell in love with Soul, and for good reason. His patience that he had with Rome, that's what Asia should have done. Like, he was willing, like, what's the best move? As much as he wanted Rome out of this game, he wanted him out so bad. He was smart enough to be like, what's the best move going forward? I do think he lost some steam post-merge, but I think it came down to he was just on the wrong side of the numbers. I don't remember why he got sent home. I got to be honest with you. Genevieve. That's right. Because a lot of people are like, why did she make that move? Because Soul would have worked
because she was getting revenge for Rome.
And because the first tribal, Soul voted for her.
Yeah.
Oh. If we put Soul behind Rome.
Oh, God, no. At least put him there. I would put him I would put him in front of Keyshawn and Rome.
No.
This is the thing. Like, he had one of the big moments of the season of giving Rachel the advantage.
Yes.
And was able to pay off it. And I still don't think she told anyone. I'm trying to remember if it did get told that he had done that. I don't think so. But I think overall he had some really good intentions.
I love that too. He caused chaos with that decision. Like, he could have easily just taking the easy way out. But he saw that Rachel was the obvious vote out. And he said, no, we're not going to do that. And you have to give the man props for that. That's what we want. We want you to cause some chaos in the game. It bought him an ally. It bought him someone that, was like,
I don't think.
I mean, it didn't really pan out. Did she end up voting for him, like out of the game?
So
I think so, yeah.
Did she? Oh, I take that back then.
I definitely think it is. Yeah, it's either he's in front or behind Sierra. I'm not sure.
Minnows adds in, I would put my life on the line for Soul with no hesitation. He got sent home because Jen was being Jen. Roy says Soul over Sierra. Soul forever, patient, thoughtful, calculated, only bested by Jen.
Yeah.
Because actually, when I think about it, there was a scene, and I don't know if it was the episode he left or the episode before, but there was like two different things where it's like, I know Kyle was like absolutely loves Soul, and possibly it was someone else then also was like Soul was really good. It was whatever episode Survivor Social gave him the social butterfly. It's whatever episode that was.
It's like episode 7, I believe.
Yeah.
I want to say it was like episode 7. I will say this. If we're this close on Soul versus Sierra, and I hate to go against Kara again, but
I have my way.
If we're this close between Soul and Sierra, who made it farther in the game?
Yeah.
Well,
so we'll leave them there for now. We'll see if we reshuffle later. We'll come back to it. Next up, another loud player in Gabe, someone who was a little less loud than Rome in the pre-merge. I want to say a lot less loud, but he did find the Beware advantage. He was able to get his hands on the idol. I believe he just went for the 1-day idol. Am I wrong about that? I know, or was that Sam who did the one? Sam did the 1. Gabe did the 3-day. Ended up playing it. What else? What else happened here? What was that? He played that. Yeah, he kind of got rid of it. I mean, Gabe had his troops. He had his little injured birdies or whatever he called them in Sue and Caroline, and then brought in Tiana. Later on in the game, we saw him working with people like, people from other tribes. He had the 3-day, but he spent it early because yes, that's true. I mean, Gabe was playing a strong game early on. Another player that I think his game fizzled out once the merge hit because the Tuku Alliance kind of got decimated, but he also won an immunity challenge. Can't forget about that as well. Beating Kyle. Yeah, he beat Kyle on that one where it came down to like 4 people. Kara, where do you think we should put Gabe here?
Well, I think he should go in good game, definitely. I think he had his allies from the beginning. He had people that were loyal to him. Like Sue was loyal to him through and through. Like she was never going to turn on him. The only reason she just didn't know that he was going to be voted out, I guess.
Absolutely not.
I mean, and Gabe was also entertaining. He gave us some good TV moments.
What mistakes did he make? I mean, let's talk about these mistakes there.
No, because I
no, Ollie does not like Gabe.
I don't like Gabe, so I'm there like trying.
So many problems when I picked him for my draft. And he provided for me.
He did.
I mean, a lot of people are disagreeing with us. Gabe was okay. Minnow says he couldn't keep Caroline, though. Couldn't keep Kyle. Yeah. Gabe was okay. So a lot of people are feeling like Gabe should go down here. I mean, the man was making moves in this game.
He was making moves, but I always said this. I felt like he was always going to struggle socially and with jury management because how he spoke about people. And that's why I don't care for him. If I had my way, he'd be at the bottom. Bad game, but that is just because that's my meanness coming out. No, but I also can give the credit where the credit's due. Yeah, I just think socially, had he stayed, and again, this is all hypothetical, socially, had he stayed, I think he would have continued to make social faux pas. But I think even in the game, like, he wasn't treating people like people. They were puppets, not people to him. So I think that's where I would put him in good game. Because I think he did make some solid moves.
Yeah.
Just don't like him.
Yeah. We have this.
that-
Minnow says, I'll never forget his idol box just tumbling down
That
the
was
mountain.
funny.
Roy adds in, he was making moves, but not memorable moves. I will say there's nothing that jumps off the page. When I was talking about Gabe, there wasn't like, oh, do you guys remember this move that he made? It was just like he was trying to control the game. He was trying to be the godfather. One thing I do remember about Gabe is the fact that he's like, I want to be on the Mount Rushmore of new era players. I want to be one of the best players to ever play this game. And he flamed out. He didn't really do. He did say that. Do we think it? I don't know. I mean, I think we're as high as here.
No.
As low as here.
No.
I'm saying I'm giving the range. As high as here, as low as here. Are we putting him there? He did make merge. It's hard to put him behind Kashan when Kashan was the fourth person out.
I think that's fair. Ollie's so mad right now.
Not happy whatsoever.
I feel like, I don't know. Go ahead, Ollie.
So when you have two loud people that have been sat there the entire season being like, I'm going to be brought back, I'm going to be memorable. Well, out of the three people that are in that lineup, when we look between Gabe, Keyshawn, and Rome, who's been mentioned 3 times in the last 3 episodes? As soon as that person got voted out, who was ignored the entire time?
I can't do it, Ollie. I can't move him. I got to go with Kara here. I got to out. But I do like this comment. Kashan gets grace for being ginned.
Yeah.
Can that be a new term? Can that just be ginned? And then Kashan, post-merge, screen time, King Legend. I'm going to side with Kara here. I like him there, behind Sierra, behind Soul, but before your lovely Kashan. You can message him about it and be like, look, I had your back. It wasn't me.
I thought you meant Gabe then. I was like, yeah, I'm definitely not messaging
Gabe. Next up, we got Kyle, a man who is 2 immunity wins away from setting a new record. Yeah, he would have tied it with 1 more because the record is 5. And he was just 2 away. A challenge piece. Kyle struggled early on in the game once he lost TK. I feel like TK was going to be a big player for him. I will say Kyle never really got his footing outside of that. He was just kind of a number for people to use, and he was a challenge piece. How much equity do you put into challenge success? Because for me, I was very impressed. You guys know that I was rooting him on. I was I was cheering him on each and every challenge. I wanted him to break the record. I think you should get more. I think people should give you more respect for being good at challenges. Like, I don't like when people are just like, congratulations, you went out there and you won games. That is part of the game. I agree, to be a good player, you have to have a social game as well. But like, if I'm sitting on the jury and someone's sitting there and he's like, I won 4 immunity challenges this season, I am going to take that into consideration. There are some Survivor players that are just like, so what? You want a cookie? Like, they only care about the social aspect. I don't personally. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on this, and this is my mini rant. I don't feel that way. I do think if you're good at challenges, that should count for something. And for that reason, I want to put him here. But on top of that, I don't really think he had anything else going for him.
Yeah, I agree with the placement, and I also think it was great that he won so many, and I would have loved to have seen him, beat the record or whatever. But so the thing, I think I said this on Survivor Social, the thing about him winning and what makes it like less effective for me is that he won straight into the merge and like into that phase where it was like not necessary. I think it's more impressive when you like win towards the end of the game and you win like multiple in a row there. I think that because then it like, I feel like it means more. He didn't need to win all of those right off the bat. And especially like winning them, but then not doing much with it. Like he still didn't have like any like social capital. Like he wasn't making moves. He wasn't really doing much with his immunity, you know? So
Yeah, I'd agree. I also agree with you, Randy. I think he should get praised for his 4 immunity wins because I know that I would always respect someone's physical game because I agree, I do think it does get overlooked sometimes. I think Minos had a point. I need to find it. He wasn't immediately voted out when he lost. So it was like when Gabe won immunity, he did like props for him for being able to survive. I will say, I think what helped him there was the chaos and him not being as big of a personality. He was able to. So that particular instance helped him. I do agree with the placement. I think if we were to put him any higher, it would be between Keyshawn and Rome, just because I think you could kind of convince me, I could be convinced that he was a big part of the Rome vote out because he was the one that went back to everyone. But I think that would be my highest placement. I think that was the only time we saw any sort of strategy. I do think his big issue was his social and strategic capita.
I mean, he was we see people in the chat say like good game for challenges and likable. He was very likable. And I loved every moment of him being like, look, I'm a vegetarian. Obviously his merge moment was kind of funny where he gets the wings and he's like, God, I got to eat. And then there was also a secret scene where he ate crab because he needed to eat. He was, look, no one's going to say he's not a likable dude. Like he is a very likable guy. He still couldn't make it to the end of the game just by being liked because I don't feel like he had any social capital in the game. I don't think he was controlling any vote. He could have been a big part of the Rome vote out.
Sorry, go.
Maybe the Gabe one because he did throw Gabe.
Yeah.
So
he did. Yeah, he was the one that kind of started to push Gabe, and I would give him a bit of credit for the Rome one. I also will say that I think he was a threat to win at the end because of his likability. Because I think we always put it that like, who is going to be the only one person that was going to be pissed off with him was Sue.
Oh, Sue hated his guts.
Like, and to his credit, petty reason. So that's why like I said, I feel like if we were
why did you do that?
If we put him in front of Rome, I feel like Rome has to go down. Because I don't think, like, that's what I mean by we can change stuff if we need to. The scale is ever changing until we lock it in at the end. But, like, if we make the argument that Kyle played a better game than Rome, then we're saying that Kyle played a good game, which you can make that argument. You could. I don't know if I would put him in good game. The only argument that I could see is I went on that huge rant about challenge success. And if you want to say he played a good game because of how good he was at challenges, then yes. But I think that gets balanced out with the lack of social capital that he had. That's why I did that. If we make the argument that, and this is where it gets, this is when stuff starts to change. If we're like, look, this doesn't look right. Rome should not be in front of Kyle. We're talking about Kyle, who is much more likable, who made it much deeper into the game, who was actually good at challenges when Rome said he was good and was not that great. Like, if you end up saying that Kyle needs to be in front of Rome, then I would almost say Rome needs to go down to okay game.
But Keyshawn should also be.
Shut up, Kyle. Shut up.
Sorry.
Hold on. Let's put it out there.
I was going to say, personally, I think maybe wait till the end. I'm still tossing and turning about it. I see that. Thank you, Minos.
No, yeah.
I don't know yet. I'm still on the fence about it. I think there is merits. It's that similar to the no game thing of he had merits. It's that opposite of a no game. He had merits, but then he also didn't have, like, there was things going fully against him. So Yes, Minos. Clock him. Read him.
Roy says, move Rome down, leave Kashan good.
Fine.
I love this. Thank you, Roy.
This
One of the few
I will
times me
just
and Roy
say, I
agree.
do think it looks weird having Kyle behind Rome. But see, in my opinion, it looks weird having him behind Kashan.
No. I think, and if you want my rant, I think we need to stop people thinking like they may have only made pre-merge, but we've seen people play an absolutely amazing game pre-merge and get out because they were a threat.
I would switch Rome and Kyle. I mean, we could compromise there. We could say Rome's got to move down to OK, so they're on the same level, but he could stay in front of Kyle. Or am I overthinking this? Do we just do that? I
say keep it like that for now, and then we can. I think it's better to decide at the end.
Kara's about ready to be like, she's getting the tea.
I'm literally like choking over here. Like I'm like, I just can't even. I can't even deal. When will someone be on my side in agreement with me?
I was on your side on that one.
Kara's like, I'm never doing that podcast again. They just kept disagreeing the entire time. Screw those guys. Next up, we've got, this is an interesting one for me. Caroline aligned herself early on, it looked like, with Sue. She didn't really want to work with Gabe, but she ended up working with Gabe. I thought that Caroline lost a lot of her, game equity kind of post-merge as well. Lost a lot of steam, almost became inexistent in the edit, in my opinion. I'll let you guys say where you think we should place her before I show you where I was going to put her, because I'm just very interested. Caroline didn't do a lot for me this season as a whole.
Cara, do you want to go first?
No, you can go.
Thanks. Trying to think something. I did like Caroline. I think I loved her energy. Absolute. I will give her this credit. Best hype woman we've ever seen on Survivor.
Yeah.
Will hype everyone up and point out everyone else's good game points. This is the thing, because she did have good social awareness. Like, she was aware of Gabe the entire time. Like, I think she was fully aware of Gabe's antics and stuff.
She caught on to Sue with the idol.
Yeah, exactly. She was able to kind of piece together things. Obviously, I kind of would put her and if the Gabe vote out, when it comes to the Gabe vote out, I kind of would give her and Kyle kind of similar grace. And actually, when you think about it, she made it to the final 7, and that was the first time she received votes. So those points I think are good. But again, when I know out hype isn't a criteria. I just wanted to give her love for it. Right? It's
outwit, outplay, outlast, out hype.
Yeah. I mean, me and Roy. It was when me and Roy actually like agreed on the Keyshawn thing. I was like, this is one of the few times me and Roy are seeing eye to eye for once. I would put her in OK game. I would definitely put her in OK game.
No, right behind Kyle.
Yeah, I would probably put her either behind. Yeah, I think either behind Kyle or no. It would stop it. Yeah, it would be either there or possibly behind Arnica, but I'm not sure yet. I want to hear what Cara has to say before I think.
You've got her gagged again, Ollie. Good job. Good job. I will show this comment. Caroline was not a primary target and was taken out due more to circumstances. She was very likable and making moves to try and improve her position. I will say Caroline was the eventual casualty to Operation Italy at the end of the day, which has been seen as by players and by the media and by us as fans, one of the best moves we've seen in a long time. And you don't really get the hype for one of the best moves we've seen in a long time if it's for a player that wasn't doing anything. So obviously, I think there's a lot that we're not seeing as an audience because they weren't showing it. But it's obvious and apparent that the other players in the game playing with her did see Caroline as a threat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she had good social awareness. She knew what was happening. Like you guys said, like she, knew about Sue having the idol and she didn't tell anyone. And like she even oh my god, I'm gonna like choke. The Tiana and Gabe thing when she went to Tiana and was like, you should go like tell him what happened, apologize, whatever. That was good. I don't know.
I'm still listening. If you see me on my phone, I'm texting my boss.
Yeah.
Right now. I know.
I feel like for me that would like potentially Minnows. Are you okay, Cara? And
Let's
again,
see.
this point, she was in all of the votes until she was blindsided.
That's true.
And Kimberly adds, and I say good game ahead of that. See, that's the thing. And I understand
She did. And
our
she was
chat-
the decider in a few of the votes. So
Yeah.
let's just talk about this. Rome went 6. Kashawn was the 4th person out. And we have Caroline who made it to 7th place and was taken out in one of the biggest blindsides we've seen in a long time. One of the most well-planned blindsides in a long time. And we have her behind the person who finished 4th place and the person who finished 6th place. I would almost put her in front of Gabe, actually.
Yeah, I'd put her in front of Gabe, actually.
I've kind of been...
Yeah.
I'm going to ignore your shade on the 4th place, but I'd actually put her there because I do think there was a lot that she did that is similar to Sierra, actually. It wasn't she wasn't trying to play a flashy game.
yeah. And I agree with oh my god. I agree with Minnows. I think she could go before Sierra.
That's the person I'm fighting for a little bit here.
I mean, I love Sierra too, but
Ollie, you can be the decider.
Oh, piss off.
Do not act like you don't like being in that power position.
I do love being in it.
You are not ashamed to pick a side. Well, let's hold on. While he thinks for just a split second, let me show some chats here. Minnow says she absolutely had a good game. Caroline between Sol and Sierra for me. Roy adds in move Rome down. And then Minnows, thank you, Randy. And then thank you, Kara.
Do you know what? Because of Minnows, because I love Minnows, I think Caroline ahead of Sierra.
Okay. All right. I think Rome needs to get moved down. I'm becoming...
I keep him where he was, and then we can...
We'll discuss later.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
I will say Caroline would have clapped for Andy chopping a coconut. I love that comment. Caroline did play the game she wanted to play.
Yeah.
And then Minnows adds in. He loves Ollie. All right, next player we got. Oh boy, this is going to cause some issues. Because I know for a fact Ollie has stated that he came around to Andy, but he's not the biggest Andy fan.
Right up to great game. Right up to great game.
I know that Kara is a big Rome fan. Gabe creates already in the chat. Rome basically voted himself out and had really little awareness to that. Definitely an okay player. This is the most debatable one because do you see
actually Gabe?
Andy for 50, absolutely.
Do you see Andy as controlled chaos or out of control chaos is what it comes down to. Personally, I'm putting him here.
Oh my god.
I know I was a big critic of Andy, but I'd still put him in at least good game.
I think he was just too all over the place.
How can you not put him in great game? That's insane.
Okay,
I'm fighting for Andy.
He made a lot of moves. Yes, he did. But I could go out there, make a lot of moves and cut ties, boom, 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 blindside after blindside after blindside. It ended up costing him because he was a flipper. He flipped way too many times. And that he could have made it to the end of the game.
That is not what cost him the game. That's not what cost him his game.
No, I agree with Cara. I don't think that cost him his game. Him being too
confident,
Exactly. Like until his overconfidence came out, it was going to be Sam going. So first of all, Andy, thank you for being cocky. And Roy just said it, because this is what we were talking about yesterday. I think he maneuvered. I definitely think that they will target it as a flip, but I do think Andy was able to maneuver his game. Again, yeah, Brian, strategic flipping. Like, think,
Yeah.
yes, and I will defend it.
Look,
I don't look again. Andy annoyed me half the time because I did think there were times he was being a bit arrogant, like when he was like socially, and I want to preference that by saying socially, like, do I think he was more annoying than Gabe and Rome? No. But I do think he had a lot of good merits. And again, Operation Italy, we gave him a lot of credit for it. I now need to look at people to remember. Like, there was a lot of things that we saw of him that were good. Now, are we going to forget episode 1? No. Because had it just been episode 1, he'd be at the bottom at Bad Game.
Had Sam and the tribe, if Sam and the tribe made the right decision and the one they should have made, he should have been the first boot this season.
Yeah, but I will give him credit in the sense of the reason he did Operation Italy is because he kind of knew that he was at the bottom of his 5. So he made the moves he needed to. I think currently, out of everyone, he has made a lot more of the big moves where, yes, he probably would have struggled at a final tribal council, but he would have still at least been able to showcase his game. And obviously, us as the fans, yes, he annoyed me at times socially, but I can still say he made good moves. And yeah.
I mean, I was going to say, we can see all the chats coming through. You guys started lighting up the chat when it came to Andy. I mean, he flipped from the one voting block to the next like that ain't flipping. Roy says, even his attempt to jury manage Rachel was the best move he could make given his status. Brian says he would have been the bottom of the Underdogs Alliance had he stayed with them, and he recognized that. Okay, this is... Minnow says right here, Randy, I'm sorry, but you're at the bottom of the Rites of Passage Alliance right now. This is what I'm saying with Andy. There's a reason that all the players were frustrated with Andy. There's a reason for that. There's a reason that the players themselves, the reason that he kind of got sent home is like, yo, Andy, you can't trust him. That came directly from the players. Like, he was flipping and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Was he an entertaining character? Yes. Did he make some smart moves? Yes. There's a couple moves that I think, wow, were some of the best this season. But did he also make some of the worst moves, in my opinion? I don't think his game management towards the end of his journey was that great outside of Operation Italy. I think there was a point, and I've still said this, Andy is one of the best comeback stories we've ever seen in Survivor. And that should count for something.
Yeah.
So maybe I was being a little harsh putting him in okay game. But at the same time, I think Andy could have been a real contender if he just settled down. And it felt like there's a difference. I've seen the comments where you guys are like, that's Survivor nowadays. Like, we don't have alliances. It's not old school. There's voting blocks. Everybody is flipping 24/7. I like to say everyone is fluid. They're not flipping. Where Andy feels like if I took Andy and I could be enemies, he could be going against my alliance and he could be targeting me for 5 weeks. But if I pick him for a food reward and I said, hey, let's do this, Andy's going to be like, yep, sounds good to me. Even if I'm like, wait, you're going to turn on the person who has been on your side since the beginning. I personally don't think voting Sierra was a smart move for Andy. I really don't. As much as you want to say that he was on the bottom of Sierra and Sam, and yes, he needed to make that move, I don't think that was the right time to make that move. And I don't know if that was the right way to make that move. Mm-hmm. I think he should have pulled Sam in to try to convince him. I don't know if he would have gone for it, but try to convince Sam to turn against Sierra. Because, look, Sam was the whole reason that Andy was in this game to begin with. And I could have seen Sam taking Andy to the end because I think Sam would have looked at Andy as like, hey, I can beat this guy. Let me take Andy to the end of this game. And you could make the argument about why would Andy want that? Why would he want to be a GOAT? But yeah, I know. I see the comments. But Andy right now is not going to make the final episode, while Sam could very well make the finale. And I think if he just stayed with Sam, he could be pitching to the jury come this Wednesday. I think he made some bad decisions.
Well, okay. I think, well, first of all, I really think that Andy should be in Great Game. Like, I don't think he should be in Good Game. I think he's played a great game from that first episode to where he ended up. I think it was great. And the only reason that he was voted out was because he was trying to do jury management with Rachel. Like, you know, there's comments saying it. Like, he was trying to show, like, if she didn't have an idol, it would have worked, you know? So, like, he was trying to be like, I did these things, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And then, what was I going to say? Oh, I think getting Sierra out was a good move for him because that brings Sam closer to him, because now Sam needs someone. Who is Sam going to go to? He's going to go to Andy, and I think that is smart.
Yeah, I will say I do agree with Cara that overall I think the Sierra vote out was good for Andy's game because it did even open him up to more options. I think if Sierra was still in the game, like, people may have still tried to lump Andy with them. Even though I think Andy would have literally been like a head on a stick getting one of them out. I also like Gabe Create's comment of, I think flipping's not unique to Andy this season, because I agree with that. Obviously, we will get to
Teeny, but I'm not high on Teeny either.
So, I'm still debating whether he is in Great Game to Good Game. I think he still made some really strong decisions and moves that ultimately did affect the course of the game. I mean, we're going to talk about her next, but I feel like there's definitely one person I put in Great Game. I'm still debating whether I put Andy, if I'm going to be nice to Andy and say I put him in Great Game.
Are we not going to talk about how cocky Andy was this season? Because I think that's another thing that really cost him his game. I mean, I just feel like, for me, Andy was like a roller coaster, right? Plummet right off the gate, down. But then, oh my gosh, like, I was on the Andy train. I'm like, Andy's playing phenomenal. What brings him back down to Good Game is his performance the last couple of weeks outside of Operation Italy, which was a fantastic move. And you can make the argument, Cara, of like Operation Italy being like the best move of the season should automatically put him in Great Game. I see that argument. It's just tough for me to say Great Game when there were so many blundering moments from Andy this season. That's what's tough to say, oh, Great Game. Because when I think Great Game, I said before we started the stream that I almost renamed Great Game as the Kim Spradlin tier. Great Game is like the top of like the Great Game is best of the best. You don't have another tier above that besides winner. Like,
and I think Andy could have won.
But that's why I'm like, did he play? Because I know what you're talking about, Ollie. You know, everyone knows where we're going next, because she also just got sent home in the last episode. Are they about to, we can leave Andy there for now and we can get on to the next person, but are they going to be on the same tier? Are we saying those are the two of the three best players this season?
I think for me, I will say before we move on, I think for Andy, whether he would have won, it would have depended on how the jury felt about him. And do I think he would have had the jury fully on him? On his side, sorry? No. I think he would have had a lot of convincing to do. It's just depending on whether he would have been able to convince them or not.
We got a comment here from Mama Dukes. It's a disgrace to have Kyle ranked below both Kashan and Rome. I know. Someone has to do it. We have to be the bad guys here. This is all done with love. That's why this is not.
I on Twitter.
This is not, Ollie will take all the hate. He does not care. This is not a podcast for the week, because you got to come on here and disagree in front of everybody.
Mhm.
All right, this is of no debate. I don't even need to hear what you guys have to say. She's going right there. Genevieve, arguably the best new era player. I think she's up there. I think this can be debated. I said arguably. I'm biased towards Genevieve. She was my winner pick. And she's the best winner pick I've ever had. So I'm a little biased. But there is no denying the game that she played this season, from the Kashan vote where she decided, look, I'm going to control my own game, even though I'm laying low. I think it says a lot that she made that big move and still survived as long as she did, because she knew how to sink back down. I made my move. I attacked. I'm going back under for a little bit. And then she really took control. It felt like once we got to the merge, she really took control of her game. The only knock on her game that I think you can make is voting out Soul, that I still don't know was the right decision for her, because I think Soul could have been a number for her moving forward. But I just think her gameplay, her read on the game, and her read on how to get out of tough situations makes her one of the best players we've seen in a long time. Roy, this is not happening.
I like Roy.
This is just not happening. I'll let you guys take it away now with Genevieve.
Yeah. Sorry. I think the only thing with Genevieve for me is like her lack of like the personal connections and the social bonds. I feel like that is a miss in her game, and I feel like if she had more of like the social connections and things like that, I think she could have been even better. And I think that I genuinely think that could have cost her in the end, if she was there in the end, her not having those personal connections with people.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think I would rebuttal it by saying she was aware of it though, and was starting to try to better it. I agree with you, Randy. I think so. Actually, I agree and I disagree. I do think voting out Soul was a good move on her part. I do think it was slightly early. Like, I think looking back, it could have been.
Well, I mean, that's what put her on the bottom.
Yeah.
Voting out Soul there, yeah.
What you said about the way that she was able to still survive and get into people's heads the way that she did. Obviously, I do want to say that I don't think that was just her. I do think that was with her and Sam at times. But I do think we have to give her credit where her credit's due. She played a masterful game. She was considered a threat from Soul's vote and was able to make it to Final 5. Constantly people going, she's this massive target. She's this big threat. And she was able to maneuver her way and kind of continue getting out of those situations, like you said. So I think she made some really good moves. And again, she started off her game by getting rid of a dangerous player, Keyshawn. So I will still fight for her to be in great game. I think.
Well, I mean, like another thing with Genevieve is she just has that ability when she pulls someone aside, she can throw out a name without actually throwing out a name, if that makes sense. Like she'll listen. So like you pull her aside and you're like, I think we need to vote Rome out of this game. And she'll say, like, I see where you're coming from. I totally get that. Wouldn't it make more sense to go Teeny, though? And that's just an example. It didn't happen like that.
Yeah.
And then the other player would usually be like, why do you think that? She'll explain herself. Oh, yeah, you're right. And then it kind of makes that player feel like it's their idea. The way she presented the ideas of being like, wouldn't it make sense if we do this instead? And like, I think aligning with Rome early on in the game was such a great move for her, because she got the loudest player, the most controversial player out there. And she knew that the target was not going to be on her. It was always going to be on Rome. And when it came down to it, when it came time, she didn't go up against her, or she didn't try to keep Rome in the game. She's like, okay, now it's time to get Rome out. I think she controlled most of the game. And I think you can see that by the respect that the other players had for her. Every player knew she was a huge target.
Yeah.
The respect Rachel had for her. A lot of people are saying Rachel's, the best player this season, and Rachel even knew that Genevieve was her biggest threat to winning this game left in. And I know we got some comments here. Marmaduke adds in about Kyle. Kyle played on defense after the merge. He had no choice but to try to win immunity. We don't disagree with that. The problem is Kyle never put himself in a power position, which is our biggest problem with Kyle. He was just too reserved to do that. Roy says, Randy, are you saying her best move was voting out Soul? Not at all. Her best move that I can remember was the Kashawn move.
I think put Brian's point up, because I think actually that makes a lot of sense, and I actually think that's quite on point, because had she left Soul in, it would have been much, much harder, because I do think he was gaining ground, and I think smart of her to realize that. Similarly with Operation Italy, like they were able to make that flexible and get someone like Caroline out, who was never really going to get voted for. Also, her fake idol, she was able to make this perception that her fake idol was real for Final 7, Final 6.
And if it wasn't for Sam, they believed it to be real. Yes.
Yeah, I think she could have gotten away with it too.
Also, won an immunity. Won an immunity this season, which is impressive as well. I'll show this. Mama Dukes, move Kyle ahead of Rome. I'll let you know right now. Kara is never going to let that happen. And then Josh, I'm bummed. Hey, Josh, I'm bummed I can't be on here to defend Caroline's honor.
Well,
no.
Yeah.
A lot of people think we're low on Caroline and Kyle.
No. We have Caroline pretty high. We like Caroline.
Yeah,
I can't put her any higher. I really can't. Kyle.
We'll get there. We'll circle back.
Yeah.
And Kara, did you have anything else to add about Genevieve?
Not really. I think she has played a great game, and I think she definitely deserves the great game spot. Like, she's been great. And like the fact that like we said, like the Keyshawn vote, like the fact that like that didn't really even come back to bite her at all. Very impressive. Same kind of with the Soul vote. I feel like that's when people started looking at her more, but didn't really matter that much. And then, I mean, I guess it did, like, not as much as it could have. But yeah, so I think she's in a good spot.
I will not. That's the person I'm fighting for. I will say this to everyone in the chat right now. I will not move Genevieve below Andy. I will not do that. Right. I think we all agree. Kara. Kara.
I'm an Andy stan. Like, you could put Andy in that winner spot, and I'd be like, perfect.
Yeah.
But
and we'll loop back around and see if there's any changes that need to be made. But we are now on to our final four, the four people who will battle it out to be crowned. Oh, my bad. Soul Survivor this Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time on Paramount Plus and CBS. See, Randy, you have ranked Kyle behind two players that did not make the merge. I was the person arguing that.
And I was the person disagreeing with that. So Mama Dukes, fight me. I don't care. Placement doesn't define your worth as a player.
Yeah, kind of. So we're down to our final four. Excuse me. We have to eliminate one of these four players.
Tina.
It's basically who we think's gonna lose fire. I think.
Okay then.
Teeny against two. Rachel.
I think I said this yesterday in the comments for Got Something For You. I think Teeny loses. No, I think I just said Teeny loses fire. I think Rachel's gonna win final immunity. I do, and I think she's going to take Sue. And I think Teeny loses to Sam. And there's an argument to be had that Sam could end up pulling out the upset if he wins fire, which that is a big Question mark. Roy, I will say right now, Rachel goes out at fire. If this happens, I'm telling everyone right now, this is a top 10 season all time, in my opinion. I do think it's that good. I don't think that's recency bias. I think it's towards the back end of the top 10, but I think it's a top 10 season all time. I don't think that changes with whoever wins on Wednesday. And I do know, especially the casual community, if Rachel does not win, we're going to see riots. I do feel like if Rachel doesn't win on Wednesday, a lot of people are going to be like, this season was ruined and stuff like that.
I will say Roy has been saying this for weeks. So if this does happen, Roy on Saturday, I know for a fact Roy will come on Saturday and be like, I knew it. I said it for weeks. I think I said Sue possibly goes. I know yesterday I said that my thing is, for me, I see the final three for some reason being Teeny, Sam, and Rachel. But I don't know.
I've seen some people say they think Sue beats Rachel at fire and ends up winning this season.
That would be crazy. I mean,
I promise you it'll be Gabler all over again if Sue wins.
I've seen some things on Twitter, some good points to Sue's game where it's she would be a good winner if she did win. She had she had alliances, she won immunity, she hasn't not been doing anything. She found an idol. She didn't need to play the idol, which she needs to play it. She played it anyway. Why not? She found it, play it. I don't know. I just
You're the tiebreaker unless you think Sam or Rachel's going out at fire.
I don't know. Do you think Sam and Rachel are both going to be in the final three? I feel like, I guess maybe.
Ollie is anger typing.
It's all right. I was just bad.
I feel like it would be safer to take Teeny to the final three over Sue.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I think, because my theory was Sam wins immunity and makes Rachel and Sue go to fire. Because I think he's seen Teeny's game. Because I do think Teeny, out of the four currently, Teeny will struggle the most with the jury.
Yeah.
Well, then where do we put? So okay, I'm good doing that just for the sake of conversation. Sue loses at fire.
Sue would go to the front of good game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Really? Yeah. I mean, she had an idol that she could have used multiple times to save key alliance members, and she chose not to, just to hold on to it to the end of the game to play it when you didn't need to play it. What are you talking about?
Because, well, no, because we have to remember every other idol got exposed except Sue's. That is the angle she could play. I will say we saw all the reactions to Sue having the idol, and even Gabe had no idea. Obviously, we know that Caroline was aware, but Gabe was looking like, whoa, what? So I do think there is some good points to Sue's game. Again, I actually even think her revealing that she'll be 59 instead of 45, I think that would work for her.
Yeah.
And also
she would be, I forgot to say, sorry, but not to cut. I'm so sorry, Ollie, for cutting you off. But before I forget, and I will forget, Sue, if she does end up winning this game, will be the oldest Survivor winner of all time. Right now, Bob Crawley from Survivor Gabon owns that with, I believe he was 56?
57, I think.
57. And with Sue being 59, just to add on to your point, if she does win, she will be the oldest winner ever for Survivor.
And also, Sue was going to play the idol for Caroline until Caroline said, don't play it for me. Caroline is the reason that Sue didn't play the idol. So,
see, I forgot about that. That was my biggest grievance. Sue.
Because I will say, I feel like I keep saying I was a critic of half the cast. I'm so sorry, cast 47. Because I was so hyped on Sue and then seeing how she was it upset me, obviously, because I was wanting to root for Sue. I do think as the game has progressed, and especially in this late game, her loyalty has become an asset to her. Because it was even like when she wasn't going to vote for Rachel, you saw that none of the other four cared. And I actually think that was a good thing, because then she was actually aware of everything. At that point, she had the most knowledge out of everyone. Randy, what?
I have big news, breaking news. I got a notification on Instagram, so I opened it up really fast just to check. It was just a bunch of likes for the latest posts. Also, shameless plug, go follow us on Instagram at Survivor Now Podcast. But breaking news, Sierra has just announced that she is pregnant.
Oh.
Yeah, amazing. She just posted, that was literally the first thing that popped up on the feed. She just posted a video with her and her fiance, I believe. I don't think they've gotten married yet.
Oh, yeah, I'm just looking at it now. No, they're still engaged. Oh. Cute.
That is amazing. I'm so sorry to cut you off, but that was the big
Move
news.
her up to great games.
Great winner.
Yeah, Sierra
Kenzie. Yeah, no, I do. I think I was very critical of Sue, but in the last few episodes, I was starting to see the merits of her game. And I do think that overall, she had a better game than Sol and everyone else. So I would put her in good game.
I'm so conflicted because you guys are making such great points. And I've seen this comment. Roy says, Sue does have good relationships with Gabe, Caroline, and Rachel. So a win for her is not out of the picture. Sue, Sam, and Rachel could all get votes at final, could result in a very surprising final.
Yeah.
And I've been posting on our social media the final Castaway previews. Today we had Sue and Sam's go up. Tomorrow Teeny is going to get posted, and then Tuesday you'll see Rachel's breakdown. But I saw so many people on multiple social medias when I posted Sue. No chance. Absolutely not. She's done absolutely nothing this game. There's no possible way she wins. I would tune your expectations to the point Sue could very well get votes at Final Tribal Council.
Oh, yeah.
And there is an avenue she could win this game. Like, as much as that might piss a lot of people off, a lot of the casual fans off, Sue could very well win this game. I said the same thing about Gabler back in 43. I understand for different reasons people don't like Gabler. Gabler's win was surprising, but it wasn't a win that I saw where I went, they did not deserve to win. And yes, I'm of the mindset now, especially as we cover Survivor, if you make it to the end of the game and you win, you did something right. You know how hard it is to make it to the end of the game. But yeah, I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but if Sue wins, I'm not going to be angry about it and say that she does not deserve, to win the game. And I'm not going to argue with you guys putting her above Sol and Caroline and Sierra because we're talking about a 59-year-old woman in a game that is not designed for older people. How many times do we see the older generation get voted off very early because they're playing with a bunch of 20 and 30-year-olds and they're just assumed to be weak? She's won an immunity challenge, which is very impressive to do. It's very challenging to do. And we're talking about a woman who at 59 years old could become the oldest person ever to win Survivor and could be sitting in the final 3 this Wednesday night. So even though I was thinking about putting her around the Caroline Sierra range, I can't argue with her going at the top of good game. I don't think she's played a great game. I think when people say her resume is not strong enough, I do see their argument. I do wish she made a few more moves, specifically with her idol. I think if you don't need to play it at Final 5, and I understand it is so hard to hold on to it when it's the last tribal council to play it. But Marianne did it and used it at her final tribal council. I understand it probably wouldn't have gone over the same way. I know what you guys are saying, but that is an avenue. I do think no matter what you say, that could have served her more purpose than just playing it just to play it.
I think the reaction of either if she played it at 5 or if she kept it for final 3, I think it would have been the same reaction either way.
Yeah.
So I think it's satisfying to have had that moment to go up there and play it versus pulling it out. I think
Yes.
it would have been the same reaction from everyone, no
Yeah.
matter
Okay.
which way she did it.
Because I think the thing with Sue's idol is it's the fact that she was able to keep it under wraps. And I will say about Marianne's thing, I think the difference is Marianne got someone else to play an idol for her. Obviously, Sue didn't have that. I think that's where that was the thing with Marianne. But with Sue, I think the fact that she was able to keep that idol under wraps still, I think is a good thing. And I do think if hypothetically the final 3 was Sam, Sue, and Teenie, I think Sue would have Rachel and Caroline's votes on lockdown. Still unsure about Gabe, but I think Gabe would definitely be leaning going into that final tribal.
Yeah, we're definitely set up for a very interesting final tribal. Let's go ahead and talk about Teenie next, because obviously, so this is what we're saying the final 3 is. This is your final 3. Let's go ahead and talk about Teenie now, because obviously a lot of people are going to want to look at Sam versus Rachel. What do we think about Teenie this game? Because Ollie and myself both said earlier that we are not very high on Teenie's game. I think early on they looked like they were going to be a very, very good player, and they lost steam very quickly as soon as Kashawn went out of the game. I feel like Teenie began to struggle to find their footing. I'm kind of here, and I think I'm being generous by saying here.
I can't, if you're going around, there.
Wait, where? In front of Sierra?
No.
I don't think they've played a better game than Sierra. Over? You just want Kashawn in front of.
No. I'd actually put
No.
Between
Before
Gabe and
Keyshawn.
Keyshawn. Yeah. Between Keyshawn and Gabe. I think Teenie had a great start, and I think we saw this socially how they were able to connect, and actually at the beginning of Merge
strong social player.
Yeah, strong social player, and they were able to adapt and get into the crux of the game. And actually, when we look at it, they've only ever received 1 vote, and I think that again is a credit to their game. They only ever got just 1 stray vote, and I think it was from Kyle when he was going. The thing with Teenie's game is I do think that Teenie had, Ryan just said it, way too trusting. I even said this on Got Something For You yesterday. I think she had moments of being emotionally gullible and just not taking everything with a grain of salt. And I think the biggest thing, I actually think Teenie kind of suffered a little bit from kind of survivor fatigue. And I think we kind of saw it in these latest couple of episodes. And I think that's where their game sort of went downhill from there. The question is how.
This is an interesting comment. Teenie is giving Kinsey, but I'm afraid she might be the final tribal council loser. I know Ollie's going to disagree with that, with how much he loves Kinsey. But there is an argument. Again, a lot of people, if Teenie ends up winning on Wednesday night, they're going to be like, what? Like, how? You can make the argument Kinsey did not play the greatest game in terms of what we saw from an audience point of view. But going back to this comment of Roy saying, Teenie, bad game. Teenie only makes the final 3 because they were not a threat. I think a lot of times people, we talk about someone who plays a physical game not getting the respect they deserve. I feel like sometimes a social game can be easily overlooked. You look back at Erica for 41. This isn't me patting myself on the back. I was not surprised that Erica won the game. Back then, I didn't have this wonderful team of Survivor Now analysts. It was just me running the social media. And I predicted Erica to win going into that final tribal council because Erica was an incredible social player. And, you can say that the best player wins as much as you want, but at times pettiness does come into this game and it can turn into a popularity contest. And Teenie has a great social game. Teenie is very much loved. Teenie could easily make the final 3, pitch their case, and have 2 or 3 people on the jury that just loves them so much that they hand Teeny their votes. I don't think popularity is going to come into it enough for Teeny to win this game personally. But I would not be shocked if Teeny got 1 or 2 votes from a couple members of the jury. And I think we shouldn't just say that Teeny's played an awful game or a bad game because we haven't really seen them do anything, because they are well liked and they do have a social game. And they have been looked at this season as one of the better social players. I just think in terms of their strategic moves, that's what's lacking for Teeny.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think, first of all, love Teeny. I think Teeny is great, and I'm like so happy for them that they're here at this point in the game. I think they are well liked. I don't think they make it to the end and they win. Maybe they can get a vote or 1 or 2, but like definitely I don't think that Teeny is gonna win. Because, like, nothing has gone Teeny's way this entire game. Every single time, Teeny has been, like, not in on the vote or unaware of what's going to happen. And I think that's, like, I think it's kind of impressive to be, like, to have nothing really go your way, but still be here and, like, people like you and, like, you know, want you around. I had another point to this that I need to think of. So
I was going to say what.
See some of these comments while she thinks.
Yeah, well, this is Brian's one I really wanted to put out, and I think that's
this. Yeah. Teeny gives me more, not Kenzie, but Teeny gives me more of like a Ben or a Jake, where things aren't going their way, where they're a very likable person. They have a good social game, but it's not like the best social game. It's like it's there. It's not like, you know, I don't know. That's pretty much.
Yeah,
I love the Ben comparison. I really do.
Because I think as well, one thing that's probably going to be going against Teeny going into this Final Four, and if they do make the end, is actually something Sam said. If you want information leaked, tell Teeny. And as we know in Survivor Perceptions Reality, we've heard that so much this season, where I feel like that's going to be one of the things that they're going to struggle with, is overcoming that perception of, I was just a leaker. And I think, again, we saw it earlier on when we were talking about Andy and was he flip-flopping? Was he maneuvering? Was he playing fluid? I think with Teeny as well, I think one of the things that was happening with Teeny is Teeny was happy to flip. I think I would say Teeny had more of a flipping game than Andy did, because I think Andy maneuvered, whereas after you saw the Final 7 Operation Italy, you saw Teeny just flip and just spill everything out and kind of just showed no loyalty to Rachel. But then the same breath, the next round, she's gone straight back to
I think that was a really bad look when Teeny pulled everyone aside and was like, why'd you leave me out? I think that should have been a wake-up call and been like, okay, like I feel like good players or great players would be like, no, I'm getting my revenge. Like, I'm going to take control of my game. I'm going to make a big move. Teeny just seemed like a lost puppy who, like, you angered them, but then once you gave them a treat, they were right back to like, okay, I'll work with you again. Like, I like you again. Like, Teeny was so quick to fold back in with that alliance that just screwed them over. Especially the fact that they even said in confessional, like, we got Teeny back. It's good. We already got Teeny back with us. Like, and that's not a great look. I see what Roy is saying. A good social game presumes you've made use of social skills, not just well-liked. I see where you're coming from, but being well-liked is part of the social game as well.
I will push back on it slightly, where I do think that Teeny did make use of their social skills. Like, we can definitely say that early on, and even in like the start of Merge, I do think kind of once Soul left is when we started to kind of see the fractures in Teeny's social game. But I still think there was still some merit to it, where they were able to work with people. I mean, Dakota just said it then. I love Teeny, but Teeny trusts everyone but Teeny.
Yeah.
Is another way you could say it.
Love that.
It's
I
tough.
will loop back to this. Kicksmeister says, what's interesting is Gabe and Ponderosa mentioned he thought Teeny was the mastermind in his vote out. It's definitely going to be interesting to see the perception say Teeny makes that final tribal council. What perception does the jury have of Teeny? And do they see Teeny as having a good game, or do they see Teeny, much like the audience sees Teeny, as someone who never really found their footing in this game? I will say, out of everyone that we just talked about post-merge, we obviously said Genevieve. You could say Genevieve and Andy are locks to return at some point, some season. Is there anyone else that you think could very well return for another season out of the people we've spoke about?
Teeny definitely.
You think Teeny's definitely back?
I could see Teeny returning. I think it'd have to be a specific season. Sue, I could see them bringing Sue back, depending. I could even see them bring Soul back.
I could see them bring Soul back.
I agree.
We're down to the final two. Before we get to the final two, this is the last chance we can make changes on anybody else.
Wait, I want to say something.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, and let us know in the chat if you think we need to make any changes.
Like, what could Teeny have done differently, though? Like, I feel like they haven't had, I feel like they haven't really had the chance to do anything else, you know?
Well, this is an interesting conversation because a lot of people over the past couple of days have been talking about, is Teeny one of those players? Great player, wrong cast. Like, if you give Teeny another cast, I mean, you can make that argument with a lot of people who go out very early on in the game, but like, if you give Teeny a different cast, maybe they have players who are more willing to work with them, because it does feel like Teeny wanted to make the moves, just could never get the numbers to actually work with them.
I just needed the people to be loyal to them, you know?
I think Teeny would do better once they've returned. In their second chance, I think we would see a completely different Teeny, because I think Teeny would be able to handle their emotions and use that as their game, like how we saw Caroline, from 44, how Caroline was able to use their emotions in a strategic way. I think we would see the same with Teeny, and I think Teeny would do a lot better in a second chance if and when they've returned.
And also, Teeny is so young. When Teeny said they were 23, I was shocked.
Makes me feel so old.
So, I know.
It makes me feel so old.
Both of you shut up.
Ollie, what are you talking about?
I'm the oldest one here.
You're only 29, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're acting like, shut up,
Basically
you two. Yeah, it's like we're all around the same age in this podcast.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Brian adds in, maybe not even different cast, but what about differently shuffled starting tribes? I could definitely see that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. And then Roy adds in, Teeny's youth is not an asset, would do better in a few years. Yeah, I definitely feel like if they came back when they're around like our age, like 27, 28, around that area, like I think they would be a whole new player. Like I definitely agree with that. All right. Speak now or forever hold your peace. I'm talking to the chat. Is there any changes that we need to make to this grid? Don't count Sam or Rachel. We're going to get to them in just a second. It's been a long stream. We've talked about everyone. We looked back on the season as a whole. My only argument would be move Rome down.
Roy.
Wow, that was funny. But Kara is putting her foot down, and she has every right to do so.
I feel like you can't move Rome down and not move Keyshawn down. I feel like
I agree with that too.
Keyshawn's not moving.
I kind of think it's crazy that Keyshawn is before Rome already. But,
we do have Keyshawn and Rome and on the same tier as like Sue, Soul, Caroline, Sierra. They're on the same tier as them.
I wouldn't move Rome. Rome stays there.
I mean, does this not look just...
No, it looks weird. I think we should move them both down and then move Rome back up.
Shut up.
like that?
No, because then Keyshawn goes back up. No, do you know what? I actually will defend it. I do think both Keyshawn and Rome played good games. Yes, Rome had his very big blunders. But I think we said it earlier. When he was good, he was great. But when he was bad, he was bad. Like, that was the juxtaposition with Rome. So I would have no issues putting Rome in good games still. Because I think when he was good, you would kind of counter it by saying it was a really good move.
He had some powerful moves. I will bring this up. Mama Dukes, please reconsider. First off, I appreciate you asking nicely. I really, really do.
Yeah.
Instead, we've had people before who are like, you guys are
okay,
stupid.
move him up.
Please reconsider Kyle placement. He made the merge and won 4 immunities, and you think that's just okay?
So I will say to Mama Duke's point, the reason we had Kyle in okay game was because of his social capita. Like, physically, he was great. He was arguably probably the best physically. I think that when we look at it, because obviously you've got to look at outwit, outplay, outlast. Socially, he did socially he did struggle sometimes. That's very fair. I think I probably, arguing it, I could put him in good game as well. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine, actually. No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Does that look right? Does that look...
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
We have a lot of players in good games, but I will make the argument. I said that I think this is a top 10 season. It's been a great season. And, like, tell me the last season we had where you cared about the pre-merge this much. And the reason you care about the pre-merge is because of players like Kashawn, Rome, Genevieve, like Andy, and all that stuff that was happening. Even John in the first episode, John Lovett, people were caring about that. You know how many seasons of Survivor I've watched where the person who goes home first I could care less about? I'm looking more at like older seasons. I don't remember a lot of their names. Yeah. So Abraham's going to call me immediately. Abraham,
I was about to say 41.
I'm not talking about you, Abraham. You know I love you, my man. I love that no one said anything about TK, and he's the only one in bad game.
I mean,
see, we're here to make people happy. I'm very sorry, TK.
I will say where Kyle went, it was a 2 out of 3 decision, but that's me. That's just me being petty.
That's fair. We have look at that beautiful grid. All right. We're down the last 2 people. It's been a long show, but we still have to talk about Rachel and Sam. Ollie, Kara, who's winning this season? These are the 2 people that everyone's like, one of them's probably going to win. If you can make the argument, if these 2 go up against one another in fire, whoever wins is going to win by a large amount. You could make that argument. This is what I think everyone is feeling. But there's been an argument about could it be way too obvious? And could that be the final outcome?
I could see Sam winning. I
could too. I really could.
Yeah, I think he has a winning story. I think he's played really well. You know.
I will just start it off by saying now, because I know I'm probably going to be the only person saying this, Sam is my winner pick. Sam is who I think is winning. And I this is not to discredit Rachel at all. I do think Rachel can win as well. There is just, for me, it's more so with something that happened last episode with the editing that makes me think something could happen with Sam. So, and plus, as much as Randy does not want to admit it, Sam was my winner pick from the beginning of this season.
I never said I wouldn't admit it. I just forgot. I'm sorry.
No, Ollie, I'm with you. I'm with you like 100%. Like I think Rachel winning would be great. I think she has had a really like interesting, great game, but I don't know, something is just leaning Sam in me where I just feel like this is Sam's game. I don't know.
I think I agree. I'm getting very worried day by day that goes by. One, it does seem very obvious that Rachel is going to win this game, and we have not had that obvious of a winner in a long time. Like, it does seem very, very obvious. How many times does the actual best player win the game? Like, I mean, I know you could be like, Randy, what are you talking about? A lot of times they do, but like, you know what I mean? Like, you can make the argument that like Jesse, perfect example, was the best player of season 43 and got knocked out. You could make the argument season 41, Ricard or Shan were the best players, got knocked out. You can make the argument season 42, Omer was the best player, got knocked out. And you can make the argument Marianne became the best player because of that. But
was Rachel the best player though?
I don't think. See, that's the other. Personally, like everyone's been like Genevieve, Rachel. I think Genevieve personally has been the best player this season.
So I would make the argument that Sam and Rachel have had very similar games. It's just, it was flipped. Sam pre-merge was really strong. He was in a powerful position, and then he kind of had to get scrappy during the merge. Rachel was kind of in that underdog spot pre-merge. She went into the merge not really having anywhere. She had to kind of get scrappy in order to get into a good position. And once she got in that good position, she was in a power spot. So that's why I think it depends on how they sell it to the juries. But I think both of them have really good games to play. I think the only thing is Sam is used to speaking. And also, I'm going to go back to this edit thing. Why put in this scene between Rachel and Genevieve saying, well, if both of us go, who wins?
Yeah.
Sam.
Good point. I'm also terrified about Rachel and Fire. There's been instances this season where we've seen the reflection in her glasses, and I threw that out of my mind at first. Like, I was like, no, they're not. No, we're thinking too hard into this until the last episode and until they said Rachel is the best person at fire making. And when that came on the screen, I went,
yeah,
that's not a good sign. I do not like when someone's like, oh, they're the best fire maker. No one can beat them at fire, which has made me think that it is possible that someone like Sue or someone like Sam could knock Rachel off, because if Sam wins final immunity and challenges Rachel at fire and beats her, Sam's winning this game. And then even if that doesn't happen, if Sue beats Rachel at fire, it's going to be a showdown between Sam and Sue, and I could see split votes.
So, okay. So another thing about Rachel, like Brian mentioned how, oh my God, why am I like choking?
This one?
Yes, she has had a lot of luck. And like, if Soul didn't give her the advantage, she would have been voted out. Like, she wouldn't be here.
And it's going to hurt her if Soul decides to bring that up at Final Tribal Council. If she says something, and I don't think Soul would do this personally, but if she says something and Soul throws out, you wouldn't be in the game right now if I didn't give you that advantage. That is immediately going to hurt her, the numbers she could be getting. And who's to say that they haven't already spoke about that at Ponderosa? That's something you guys have to think about too. A lot of casual fans don't. These castaways don't show up at Tribal Council, listen to Tribal Council, then go back and don't say a word to each other. They're constantly talking about the game and about who did what. And I promise you that Soul has probably told everyone, I was the one who gave her that advantage. And then everyone else was probably like, oh, we were going to vote her out. She was going to go home. That is something these are very smart people playing this game. They're going to think about that. They're going to be like, look, and sorry, I know you guys probably want to add in. I'm so sorry. You know, I can get talking for a while, but I wanted to show this comment. Wolf in Wolf's Clothing and played the game as a scrappy underdog. The underdog story gets a lot of steam at Tribal Council.
Yeah.
People love an underdog, and this carries over in Survivor. They love it more than someone who comes in and says, I played the best game, hands down. I dominated this game. They're going to look more towards the person who's like, look, I made my mistakes. I made my errors, but I played with the cards I was dealt, and I survived. And the fact that Sam keeps posting Survive in Advance is interesting.
Thank you, Andy. That was me that told you that. Just 2 points, one for Rachel and one for Sam, actually. Rachel's one is just going back to the soul thing. I want to say it's completely dependent on how she words it. If she would go into that final tribe council hypothetically and go, I didn't have luck, all Soul needs to do is say, well, actually this, and it completely discredits her and puts her on the back foot. So I definitely think if Rachel is able to acknowledge the fact that she did have a fair bit of luck going into the game, then she'd be fine. Also with the Sam one, with the underdog story, we have to remember for most of the merge, he was labeled a threat. And funny enough, I'm going on bracketology here because one of the things that gets deducted points is when someone is called a threat. And for almost every single merge episode, after Sierra left, someone always mentioned Sam as a threat, but he was able to get to the end. So he was able to be called a threat for basically the entirety of merge and make it to the end somehow. So that, and if he's able to explain that, that is where it could be a point going to his game.
I'm going to test you guys here. We're going to play a hypothetical game.
Oh God.
I'm gonna give you guys a person on the jury, and if it comes down to, let's just throw. We said Teeny loses up fire, right? That's what we said. I'll move Soul, no? Did we say Sue? Sue loses up fire. I'll move Teeny back. That's your final three right now. I'm gonna say someone, and you tell me where their vote's going, and then we'll use this to decide the winner. Sierra, Mara Ponderosa. Sam. That's one vote, Sam. Soul.
Teeny or Rachel?
Yeah.
Which one?
I guess Rachel.
I would probably say Rachel. So there's 1-1. Gabe.
I think Sam.
Yeah, Sam.
It's 2 to Sam. Kyle. I think Sam.
Yeah.
Sam.
Caroline.
Rachel.
Andy.
Sam.
I'll go with Sam.
Genevieve. Rachel.
Sam.
Sam?
Yeah.
Even with their mutual respect, the mutual respect that her and Rachel had.
I personally would think, Genevieve would vote for Sam and Andy would possibly vote for Rachel.
Okay, well, it's 5-2.
Interesting.
And then, at this point, Sam has won, but who would Sue be voting for?
Rachel.
So that would come out Teeny a 0-vote finalist. Rachel gets 3 votes. Sam would get 5 votes and win the game. Does that sound right?
Yeah. I will say, I think if it went to like a 4-4 and it was Teeny, to be fair, I think if it was a 4-4, I think both Teeny and Sue would vote for Rachel in the tiebreaker.
We've talked. I know you guys talked about that yesterday. If Kara, what do you think about that? They talked about it on Got Something For You, which you guys can check out that show every Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern time. It's a wonderful crew with Ollie and Matthew and Phil. But we spoke about this. Mm-hmm. If it's a tie, 4-4 tie, Rachel and Sam, it comes down to the tiebreaker, which is that third person vote. So it would either be Teeny or Sue. Could Sam get either of their votes, or is Ollie right, and would either Teeny or Sue vote for Rachel in that instance? At that point, gender bias could come into it a little bit as well. Like you've got Sam and you've got Rachel, and it could be like, I'm not saying it would, I'm just saying it could be like, I want to see my fellow woman go out there and win this game. Like,
I think Sue easily votes for Rachel, no doubt. I think Teeny could be a toss-up depending on maybe how they speak at the final tribal.
I only say Teeny, I think, votes for Sam more is because we've seen Sam and Teeny kind of butt heads at this late stage. And I feel like Teeny being an emotional player, that would influence their decision.
There's a lot riding on this because this is going to be Survivor Now's official pick to win. Even though I say I do think Rachel's going to win, but I'm starting to lean more towards Sam. Survivor Now has never got a winner pick wrong going into a finale episode. Can you believe that?
They never got it right then. I was like, I definitely got it right last season. This is the thing. You go. No, you go.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm going Sam.
I can't remember who. We might have said Cassie in 43. I might have just been wrong. But every other season, I know we've got it right. So, Sam, Ollie, you going Sam as well? There it is. Let me tell you guys a couple things that are on the line here. Sam would be the first male to win since Jam Jam did it back in season 44. If Rachel were to win, she would be the first woman. No, not the first one. What am I saying? She'd be the third woman in a row to win. It would start a streak for the women. They have been going out there and killing it. Also, Rachel, I love this term. Love it so much. Tegwith put it out there. It's kind of like a baseball term, but you could play a perfect game if you get no votes and sweep the jury. Rachel did receive votes in the last episode, but negated them. So she has still not had a single vote count against her, and she will not have a vote count against her. So Tegwith invented the term a no-hitter, which is, from baseball, but you go out there, you do receive votes, but you negate every vote that is for you, and then you still sweep the jury. So it's like a near perfect game. Rachel can do that. If she sweeps the jury, it would only be the second no-hitter ever played behind Jeremy Collins, who did it back in Cambodia when he won. He did receive, I believe it was 2 votes, or 1 vote that got negated. Was it 3? 3, thank you. He received 3 votes, but they were negated because an idol was played and then swept the jury. So that's pretty impressive. That's kind of what's on the line. We also said that if Sue wins, she'll be the oldest player ever to win. So, and I'm sure there's something for Teeny as well, but there's a lot of historic stuff that could happen going into this final tribal council. Let's see. I rewatched. Hey, Sincere, what's up? I rewatched episode 1 to prepare for finale, and Sam says if you keep the glue guy in for too long, you get burned or something like that. Made me feel like he wins fire and wins the game. Maybe beats Rachel. Potentially Kicksmeister. But Caroline said she thinks Rachel is the glue girl in Gata. And then Brian says, I think Sam winning would heal my heart a little for Charlie losing.
Kenzie still won.
Kenzie did. He will defend Kenzie until the day he dies.
I will.
One more thing about Sam. I feel like he has had a very consistent edit from the beginning to the end, where I feel like Rachel's wasn't as consistent, but Sam's has always been consistent. Like, you can always count on a Sam confessional,
Sam's had the most this season.
I think we would all be very, very happy if Sam were to win this game. There's the final screen. That is how it looks. No changes. So we have Sam winning this season of Survivor. We having great game. Yes, we didn't really talk about whether Rachel goes in front of Genevieve or not, but I went ahead and put her in front, even though I think Genevieve's played a better game, just because she would be making it to the finale. So we have Rachel, Genevieve, and Andy in great game. We have Sue, Soul, Caroline, Sierra, Gabe, Teeny, Kyle, Kashawn, Rome in good game and okay game. We have Hanukkah, Tiana, John, and Asia. And then the Soul Man down in bad game, we have TK. I made that sound so sad.
You did.
Oh my gosh. I love that. Before we get to the closing statements, it's been a long show, and thank you guys for staying with us the entire almost 2 hours and 30 minutes. Thank you for being here. Ollie, it is like 3 a.m. for you. Thank you for being here. What have we thought about this season overall? jumping the gun by saying this is a top 10 season all time, or is this by far the best new era season? Where do we have this? Or is it still like 46, 45 better?
No, I think this has been a great season. I've said this before. I think this is going to be one of the seasons that people are introduced to Survivor with. Like, I compared it to Cagayan. I know it's not a Cagayan, but I feel like it's one of those introduction seasons for people, where people are going to be like, watch 47. So yeah.
Love this super chat by Ryan. Great discussion. Thank you, Ryan. Yeah, if you guys didn't know, you can super chat. That is automatically going to get your comment shown. That is so sweet. Like, thank you, Ryan. Seriously. Thank you, man. That just is incredible. Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Kara. I will throw this question out there for you guys because this has been a big discussion. If Rachel does go on to win this game, who is the better player, Rachel or D from 45? Who played the better game?
Rachel.
This has been a discussion. I think Rachel too, but a lot of people have said D.
Yeah, I personally would say Rachel. I think, well, I'd have to look back and think, actually.
I would say D.
Big Sugar No says D. Roy just added. Thanks, team. Another $5. Thank you. Appreciate that, Roy. That is so sweet. You guys have been incredible tonight. Like, this is a 2.5 hour stream that we still have a full chat. This is amazing. And thank you guys. Like, seriously. Ollie, I didn't give you a chance to add on. Kara added what she thinks about this season. But do you think this is a top season, or are we jumping the gun here?
No, I do definitely think it was a great season. Like, obviously, I will openly admit, my favorite ever winner won last season, so I still have that biasy. And I would say I think 46 and 47 had two completely different it was two completely different things. I personally don't think you can compare 46 and 47 in the sense of we all know that 46 didn't really have a lot of strategy. We know that. Whereas 47 had all the strategy. But I definitely think it is a it's a great season. I agree with Cara. I think this is a season people will, if you want to bring people in and you want to bring them in from a new era perspective, this is definitely one of the seasons to showcase. I think the last two seasons have been great.
I mean, I think it's so interesting to see, like, when the new era began, 41, 42, it was like, what is this? Like, you guys know, I was screaming in the chat. I had people being like, Randy, calm down. Like, it's not, I thought Survivor was ruined after, like, Survivor 43. Then we had 44, 45, 46, 47. There's still elements I don't like about the new era, but, like, CBS has found their stride. Like, it has been incredible, and just in time as they gear up for 50. Few more comments here. Matt, welcome to the chat. I haven't seen you before. Matt, Kara's right. It's D. And then Roy, Rachel better than Kinsey and D. And then Big Show Gano. D played better, but she also had castmates that were working with her and were less tough to face. Rachel's foes were tougher to challenge. And then Jake says, Genevieve, number one. Hello, Jake. Hello. A lot of people tuning in late here. Yeah, it's fantastic season. I know we are pumped for the finale. Let me give you guys a few notes on our schedule coming up here, because it's going to be an interesting week. With I did it again. I cut her right out. Jake also adds in 2 Andy. High on Andy. 3 Rachel, 4 Sam, and 5 Caroline. Wow. But we have a great and fun week for you guys tomorrow, 9 p.m., I believe. Is it 9 or 8, Kara? It's 9, right?
Yeah.
9 p.m. tomorrow. Kara and Tegwith will be here for Survivor Social. They will break down part 1 of the finale. If you forgot about what kind of happened last week, Make sure to tune into that. They will be joined by a special guest. Emily Little will be joining them. Survivor Social, wonderful show. That's going to be tomorrow night on our website and YouTube at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So check that out. This week, there will be no after show. There's no show on Wednesday night. Enjoy the finale. Enjoy whatever watch party you guys are going to. Kara will be in New York. So if any of you guys are in New York, make sure to say hello to her. I was supposed to go to New York. I know I was on the promo shot. I will not be able to make it. I had another plan come up, so I'm very sorry, guys. I look forward to seeing all of you. What'd you say, Ollie?
Pre-show?
Pre-show? We might do a pre-show. Ooh, I didn't think about that. Ollie, you want to do a pre-show on Wednesday?
I was going to say, I did it last season, so.
We should do a pre-show, and we should do – there's so many people in New York. Last time we did a pre-show with a finale event happening in New York, we had a few people like call in and just say hi live from New York. So maybe we'll do that again. Yeah, I like that. We'll do a pre-show. You heard the plan right here. Great job, Ollie. And no after show, but then after that, Kara, do you guys know if you're going to be live Thursday or you think you're going to push it back?
Not sure yet.
Okay, to be determined. Follow us on our social media pages. We will post exactly when the streams are going to be happening, because the after show, I know we were talking about maybe doing that Thursday night with Survivor Social. Now it's coming back to me, so sorry to throw that question on you last minute, because Kara might be joining us for the after show, like the finale show. Join us if you are new. Join us for our Patreon. The link is in the description below. We have some content that we're going to be trying to put out for you guys over the off season, and try to be more active on our Patreon beginning next year. It's just about, what content do we make free so we can continue to grow as a channel, and what content do we put over on our Patreon for our most dedicated fans. So definitely check that out. You can represent your favorite podcasting crew by going to our shop. The link is in the description as well, or go to survivornowpodcast.com. We have Christmas gear that just dropped, so it might be too late to have it arrive by Christmas, but you can still check that out. We have some incredible stuff. By the way, the shirts like that one in the background that says "I would jump in a well for Survivor Now," those go away at the start of February. So if you want a season exclusive shirt, go pick that up. Also follow us on our social media at Survivor Now Podcast on Instagram, at Survivor Now Pod on X. The Blue Sky is coming. I will make that very shortly. I know a lot of people are moving over to Blue Sky. I do have it on my to-do list. You can thank Ollie for that. And then don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. If you are a new viewer, I saw some of you guys who haven't seen before. Welcome. You guys have been incredible. Make sure to hit that like button. It helps the video get out there for more fans, and subscribe for even more content. We do 5 shows a week. We always got Survivor for you guys, and Survivor Australia is right around the corner, and you do not want to miss that content with the exit interviews. And you can listen to all our content over on Spotify. Whew, that's it. We're done. One of the longest podcasts of the year. Ollie, you can go to bed. Kara, you can go to bed. I'm going to bed. Whatever you guys want to do. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and we will catch you guys next time. It's finale week. Let's go.